A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
And now, Backstage Wife, the story of Mary Noble and what it means to be the wife of a famous star. After the nerve-shattering performance, in which Claudia Vincent appeared for the first time in the leading feminine role opposite Larry Noble, the audience has finally left the Hamilton Theater just off Broadway. And now, backstage, Mary and Rupert Barlow, the play's financial backer, are approaching Larry as he stands in the wings. And we hear...
Oh, darling, it took us forever to get out. The crowd was moving so slowly.
Oh, that's all right. Plenty of time now. All the time in the world.
The most awful storm has come up outside, Larry. It's raining like the very devil.
Yes, I've been hearing thunder from time to time, Rupert.
We came through the alley and raced to the stage door. Even so, we got pretty wet.
I hope it hasn't ruined that lovely gown, Mary.
Oh, no, it's perfectly all right, Rupert.
How was it out front, in the audience, Mary? Was the performance as bad as it seemed to me?
Well, I don't think so, dear. As a matter of fact, I thought the last scene was by far the best. Claudia Vincent seemed to have gotten over her nervousness. Don't you think so, Rupert?
I'm not a very good judge, Mary. At least not of this particular performance.
All right. You don't have to draw any diagrams. I knew it was rotten. I don't know what happened at the last minute to get Claudia to such a state, but she was shaking like a leaf the entire time. I have a good mind to take that Oliver Wilson by the throat.
Wait a minute, Larry. Wilson?
Yes.
Well, what in the world could he have to do with all this?
I don't know, but he certainly stirred up trouble somehow.
Well, I don't understand, Larry.
Oh, what does it matter now? The performance is over and there's nothing more to worry about. The main thing now is to see about getting home.
You're right, my dear, 100% right. We've got to get out of here somehow. Though how we'll manage in this downpour is something else again.
Oh, where's Claudia, Larry? Isn't she going to say anything to us?
Don't ask me, Mary. She went to her dressing room as soon as the last curtain call was over, and I haven't seen her since.
Oh, typical, I'd say. Claudia never was one for putting herself out. And I suppose after making a spectacle of herself, she's none too keen on seeing any of us.
She's probably taking off her makeup. I'm sure she'll be out.
Well, it doesn't matter one way or the other. I've done my part in sitting through her beastly performance. If you'll excuse me for being so rude about your lovely theater party, Mary. I'm sure you know what I mean.
I wonder what's keeping the others. They were right behind us. And Lord Marlowe was back of them with Tom Bryson.
Oh, let's not worry our heads about them, Mary. Let's just think of ourselves and how we're to get out of to Long Island in this weather.
I guess we'll just have to run for the subway and take our chances.
In Mary's beautiful evening gown, not in your life. I have it. I'll phone one of those car rental agencies and order a car and drive her to come to the theater.
Oh, Rupert, I'm sure we can find an easier way.
Oh, don't you believe it. There's nothing simpler than that. The fellow will be around in no time, you'll see.
I know, but driving all the way to Long Island...
Oh, bless you, Mary. What a thoughtful soul you are. But you must let me do this my way. It'll give me the greatest pleasure to arrange for a car.
Didn't you drive in from your place on Long Island, Rupert?
Yes, Larry, why?
I should think you'd want to drive your own car back.
Oh, nonsense. In this weather? Let my man Victor come in tomorrow and pick it up.
Oh, if only Victor had heard you when you called to him before. When we saw him across the street from the theater earlier tonight.
Yes. I can't get over that. Well, perhaps we were mistaken. Maybe it wasn't Victor after all.
Oh, yes, it was. I saw him very plainly. It was Victor, all right.
What is all this?
Well, we saw Victor out front, across the street from the theater during intermission. Isn't that strange?
Strange? I don't see why.
I do. Rupert called to him, but he didn't turn around. I wonder what he could have been doing on this particular street. Tonight of all times.
Maybe he's a secret admirer of Claudia's. Maybe he took a seat in the top balcony.
Maybe, but I doubt it, Larry. Well, never mind. Just you leave everything to me, and I'll see you safely back home. Oh, I say, how many of us will there be in the car?
Oh, let's see. There's you and Larry and Maud Marlowe and me.
Right, 4 of us.
Is that all? What about Julia Dixon?
Oh, yes, and Oliver Wilson.
They can take my car if they like. I'm sure it's all the same to me.
But won't Julia want to drive home with us?
I won't have the car so crowded, hang it all. And I won't have the trip ruined by that infernal young Oliver Wilson. Just let me manage this.
It sounds pretty bad outside.
Yeah. Don't like to accept this ride from Rupert. But I don't know of a better way to get home.
I think it's very thoughtful of him. He's awfully good at arranging things, Larry.
Yes, isn't he, though? However, he's had years of experience and unlimited means to perfect the art.
I don't see why you're so bitter about him. He hasn't done anything to warrant it. Certainly not tonight, at any rate.
All right, let's not go into all that.
Darling, you must be terribly tired.
I'm just about dead. I can't remember ever being so tired before.
I do hope Rupert can arrange for that car soon.
I guess we might as well go to my dressing room to wait.
All right, dear. Are you going to do anything about Claudia Vincent?
What should I do, Mary?
I mean, do you want me to go to her dressing room and say something to her?
No, that's the last thing I want you to do.
All right, I was only trying to be pleasant.
Yes, just let Claudia alone, that's all.
Well, I certainly have no wish to talk to her. There isn't anything I could say about tonight's performance.
Good, then don't try. Come on, let's go to my dressing room.
I must say, I do think she could come out and say something to the people who have gone to all this bother to be here tonight.
What people? Rupert? Why should she want to see Rupert?
He's been nice enough to spend the evening watching her performance, Larry.
He came because he wanted to be with you. Let's not distort the facts.
He didn't do anything of the sort. I got up this party to be nice to Claudia.
All right, Mary, and now it's over, thank heaven, and we can go home. I hope. And try to forget about it.
I wonder where the others can be. It's funny that they haven't come backstage yet, isn't it, Larry?
Maybe so. But I'm not going to worry. Not ever going to worry again. Sit down, why don't you, and wait till I get this makeup off.
All right. Is there anything else I can do for you?
No, not a thing. Just relax. Oh, mind closing the door while I change?
Not at all, Larry.
Might be cooler outside if you'd rather wait there.
No, this is fine. I'll put out your shirt and tie.
Find out anything more about that Oliver Wilson, Mary?
What do you mean?
I was just wondering if he happened to say anything about being here at the theater earlier tonight.
No.
Don't trust that fellow. Something about him I don't like.
Maybe it's his apparent interest in Claudia.
Oh, now, honey, what a silly thing to say.
Yes, I know it is. I'm sorry, darling. It's just that everyone is so on edge tonight. All I want to do is get away from here and get into our own home.
Oh, me too. Who is it?
Larry, I have to see you at once. May I come in?
Yes, come in.
Oh, hello, Claudia. Please do come in.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Oh, it's quite all right. Larry is taking off his makeup.
Feeling better now it's over, Claudia?
Oh, I don't know how I feel, Larry. There's a most horrible storm raging inside me. When I think of what I've been through, and all because of those lies. When I think how I've been taken in, how I was made to believe, to sacrifice my whole career, my big chance.
Claudia, what in the world? What's happened?
Oh, I don't wonder you ask what's happened. It's just about the end of everything, that's all. And all because of that wretched little...
Oh, right in here, dear. Oh, so this is where you are, Claudia. Julie and I were looking all over for you.
So, Oliver, you have the nerve to come back here after what's happened. You dared to stand in that doorway and speak so casually. Julia and I were looking all over.
Oh, I say now, Claudia, that there's no use in making heavy weather of all this now.
Isn't there, though? You think you can wriggle out of this, leaving me with my shattered hopes? Do you think for 1 minute that I'll be quiet while you try to make a last-minute play for Julia Dixon?
Claudia, for the love of heaven,
It's no use trying to make me keep still, Oliver. I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to tell everyone just what kind of liar and cheat you are. I'm going to tell them how you showered me with worlds of love, how you couldn't live without me, how you persuaded me against all reason to run off with you, to elope, to marry you, only to find out that you're nothing but a cheap fortune hunter.
Oh.
What's going on here? What's all the commotion?
Look out, Rupert. Be careful. Julia's there on the floor. She's fainted. Somebody get some water. And the rest of you stand back and let me bring her to.
In the confusion, Mary thinks only of Julia Dixon. She doesn't watch the expression on Larry's face, nor on Rupert's. Be sure to be listening tomorrow to Backstage Wife, the story of Mary Noble and her husband Larry Noble, famous Broadway star.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to accident investigation, felony detail. In the early hours of the morning, a woman pedestrian is struck down by a hit-and-run driver. Your job, find him.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke king-size Fatima. Fatima is the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make Fatima extra mild. And that's why Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. So, enjoy Fatima, the best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles, traveled step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, September 4th. It was hot in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of traffic division. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Sullivan, Commander AID. My name's Friday. It was 12:45 a.m. when I got to the second floor at 123 South Figueroa Street. Accident investigation. The Record Bureau. Hi, Wanda.
Hi. Sergeant Romero come back with you? I got a phone message for him.
So he's over at Georgia Street. He'll be back in a couple of minutes. You got time to take a 15-7?
Sure.
I got some additional information on a hit-and-run felony.
All right.
Pretty warm up here, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Coffee over there if you want it.
No thanks.
All right, officer's memo. Subject?
Investigation of hit-run felony. DR number 467923. Location, 7th and Carondelet Streets. It's Carondelet.
Mm-hmm.
September 3rd, 11:15 p.m.
Division reporting, AID. Division of occurrence?
Central.
Mm-hmm.
Central.
Date and time occurred, September 3rd, 11:15 p.m. Location of occurrence, 7th and Carondelet. Is this going to run long, Sergeant?
Oh, page and a half.
Go faster in shorthand. I can transcribe it later.
All right. Excuse me. This is for Captain H.W. Sullivan, commanding AID.
Mm-hmm.
Sir, on the above date at 11:20 p.m., the undersigned officers went to the corner of 7th and Carondelet Streets in response to an ambulance follow-up traffic.
Mm-hmm.
On our arrival there... You got any matches, Wanda?
Yeah, here you are.
Okay, thanks. On our arrival there, we were met by 11T. We witnessed ambulance attendants placing an unconscious woman in an ambulance. She appeared to be critically injured. The victim was removed to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital.
All right.
We then interviewed a man who identified himself as Chester J. Crawford, 540 Green Oak Drive. He stated that he was acquainted with the injured woman and that her name was Sheila Gordon, Gordon, 7832.5 7th Street. Crawford told us that he was taking her home from a dance. And they arrived at the intersection of 7th and Carondelet Streets at approximately 11:15 p.m.
11:15.
Okay?
Yeah.
Crawford further stated that while he and Sheila Gordon attempted to cross the intersection, an automobile headed west on 7th Street went through the red traffic light.
Right.
Did you read that last part, Frank?
Attempted to cross the intersection. An automobile headed west on 7th Street went through the red traffic light.
Okay. Crawford told us that he jumped out of the path of the car and tried to pull Miss Gordon with him. He said that the car struck her down without slowing down, continued out 7th Street, and disappeared.
Wait a minute.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And disappeared. Okay.
Crawford stated the hit-and-run car was either a Dodge or a Plymouth, but it could have been either last year's model or this year's. He described the car... It's too fast, boy?
That's all right.
He described the car as either light blue in color or bluish green. Said that he failed to get the entire license number, but that the last 3 numbers on the rear plate were either 804 or 304.
804 or 304.
That's right.
Okay.
Fine. Crawford said he made an attempt to follow the hit-run car, but that he was unable to obtain transportation. He stated he then ran to a phone at the Corsev Bar and Grill.
Spell that?
What?
Corsev.
Oh, Corsev. That's at 7th and Carondelet, and called the police. And the undersigned officers then obtained Crawford's full name, address, phone number, and proceeded to question residents in the neighborhood and were unable to locate any other witnesses besides Crawford.
Okay.
Hi. How'd you do?
Oh, sorry, that's about all. Doctor says we won't be able to talk to her for at least a couple of days, maybe not at all.
What's your chances?
50-50 if she's heavy on luck. 3 broken ribs, brain concussion, internal injury.
What'd Lee Jones have to say?
Is that all the report, Sergeant?
Oh, yeah, Wanda. We'll have the rest for you a little later. Thank you.
Okay. I'll type this much up as soon as I can.
Thanks.
Sure.
What'd Lee Jones have to say?
Nothing. He and Fincher went over the area for an hour. No broken glass from headlights at the PI. No tire impressions worth anything.
No physical evidence.
Where does it leave us?
With a half-dead girl and no suspects.
What do you think, Joe?
I don't know. It's a sour one.
Any kickback on the teletype yet?
No.
That guy she was with, Crawford, not too much help. Looked a little nearsighted to me.
He saw well enough to get out of the way of that car.
You got the notes. How much to give us?
Let's see. I got it here in the book. The car was either a Dodge or a Plymouth, late model. Color, either light blue or blue-green. And the last 3 numbers on the license plate were 804 or 304.
It's a big field to pick from.
That's the only lead we own.
You can call it that, yeah.
Well, I guess we better talk to DMV, get the dope on all cars fitting that description that Crawford gave us.
It's going to be a hard trip. At least 3,000 cars to track down.
Probably closer to 4.
What do we do for help?
We can ask the captain in the morning.
I'll get it. Bracket Bureau, Romero. Yeah, we'll bring him right over. Yeah, bye. It's Lee Jones again.
Yeah.
Says he wants the clothes Sheila Gordon was wearing at the time of the accident. He figures when she got hit, her clothes must have left fabric marks on the front of the car.
It might work. There's only one trouble.
What's that?
You can paint off fabric marks. Well, it's a long list. Let's take it from the top.
Yeah.
Find the car. Tuesday, September the 5th. We called Mark Benson at DMV and asked for full information on all vehicles fitting the general description of the hit-run car. We went back and talked to the only witness to the hit-and-run, the victim's boyfriend, Chester Crawford. He could add nothing to what he had already told us. There was no response to the local teletype and the all points that were sent out the night before. Garages, auto repair, and paint shops throughout the city were also alerted. Meantime, at General Hospital, the victim, Sheila Gordon, was still close to death. The search for the hit-run car went on. 2 days passed. Thursday, September 7th. The information we requested from DMV was being checked out and compiled. Ben and I met with Captain Sullivan.
That's the last of them, Skipper. All the cars in this area that fit the general description of the one we're at.
You just get it?
Yeah.
How many cars did they list?
4,620.
Even more than you expected, eh?
Yeah.
No chance at all of narrowing it down?
None that we can see, no.
Terrific order.
Well, we tried to figure it from every angle. Now we can do it 2 ways.
Yeah?
We keep the alert on for the hit-run car around the divisions, all the garages in town, the auto repair shops. In other words, we can wait it out. Maybe we'll get the guy, maybe not.
Yeah?
Or we can check out every one of the cars on this list and the registered owners.
Well, the first way isn't going to do the job. We know that. 4,600 cars. How much help will you need?
About 30, 40 men.
How long?
A couple of weeks, maybe more.
All right. I think I can get them from Metro Division. When do you want to start?
First thing tomorrow.
Okay, I'll set it up.
All right, Skipper.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Joe. There's a lady out here to see you.
Okay, thanks. We'll check you in the morning, sir.
Right. That's her over there.
Thanks.
My name's Friday, ma'am. This is Sergeant Romero.
How do you do? I'm Dora Lytell, Sergeant. I'm Sheila Gordon's landlady, the girl in the accident.
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Crawford, he was with Sheila that night. He told me about you, and he said he thought you might be able to help.
How do you mean?
Well, it's a long story. See, when Sheila Gordon first came to live at my rooming house, she was a good girl like the rest. Lately, well, her being sick now and all, I don't like to say it.
Yeah?
Well, frankly, last few months before the accident, Sheila just went bad completely.
I don't think I follow you, ma'am.
Oh, you know, carousing, all kinds of men, visitors, had a different man in her apartment every night.
Well, we're investigating a hit-run case, ma'am.
If Sheila gets out of the hospital, we could talk about her when she's sick like this, but when she's all right, I don't want her back in my rooming house.
I'm afraid that's none of our business either, ma'am.
But if you could talk to Sheila, persuade her to move from my house, I don't want any wrangle with the rental board again. Couldn't you talk to her?
I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do, ma'am. You better talk to her yourself.
It'll just be another row like the last time. Shameless woman. I don't want Sheila Gordon back in my house. I'll go to that hospital myself and tell her.
She's a pretty sick girl.
It's not my fault. Go right over to that hospital and tell her what I think of her.
She's hurt pretty bad.
So am I. She's hurt me. What's the difference?
You haven't been run over by a car. Next morning, Sergeants Reed and McLennan, Ben, and myself joined the 40 men from Metropolitan Division who had started checking out the first of the 4,620 suspected cars. The detail was broken down into teams, and each team was handed a list containing the names of 100 registered car owners. It was a long job and a dull one. Dozens of people weren't at home when we called. We had to rig up a system of checkbacks for each one of these. Some cars had changed hands 2 and 3 times. That meant more checking. By the end of the second week, we'd gone through more than half of the 4,600 names on the list. By the end of the fourth week, we had less than 1,000 to go. At the General Hospital, the victim, Sheila Gordon, was pronounced out of danger and recovering. We questioned her, but all she could tell us was that she thought the hit-and-run car was a dark color. The search went on. Monday, October 6th, Ben and I spent a 10-hour day checking a list of car owners south of town. It was 6:35 p.m. when we got back to the office.
Hi.
Hi, Reed. How'd you do today?
Fair. Looks like we got one.
What do you mean?
Guy's name is Ralph Angelo. Let's see. 8690 Backerley Road. Checked him out early this morning. First call.
What'd you get?
One's a late model Plymouth, light blue. License number, there it is, 17 Arthur 2804. Wasn't home. Talked to his wife.
Yeah?
She said the car's been sitting home in the garage for the past month. Husband won't drive it.
What's the story?
Told her there was something wrong with it. He was going to trade it in. McLennan and I tried it. Car's in first-class shape.
What about the front end of the car?
Pretty clean. One of the bars in the radiator grill slightly bent. Soft crease on the hood, another one in the right fender.
Did you bring the car in?
Yeah. Crown Eyes been working on it since lunch down in the garage.
Anything else?
Found a gas receipt in the glove compartment, dated September 3rd, night of the accident.
Where's Angelo now?
Santa Barbara, business trip. Due home tonight about 10. McLennan and I'll pick him up then. See what he's got to say.
That sounds good. How many possibilities does that make, Joe?
Well, let me see. Out of 3,700 we've checked, about 4 good ones. I'll get that. Accident investigation, Friday.
Hi, Joe. This is Lee Jones.
Yeah, Lee.
Just finished checking the Plymouth Reed and McLennan brought in.
You find anything?
Fabric prints on front bumper and the hood.
Yeah?
Indentation of soft object on hood and right front fender. Something else on that fender.
What's that?
Set of lip impressions.
What's it mean?
We found the car. Only one job left.
Yeah?
Find the driver.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation, presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of attorney R. Michael Charters, member of the New York Bar. And this is his actual signed statement.
Lawyers are always working against time. Long hours mean smoking more, and that's why I prefer extra mild Fatimas. I recommend them to anyone who likes a king-size cigarette. In my opinion, it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
And more smokers are discovering this every day. Actual figures show Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy Fatima yourself.
The long cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
The best of all long cigarettes.
Monday, Monday, October 6th, 10 p.m. Suspect Ralph Angelo was picked up at his home by investigating officers and brought downtown to the interrogation room. Sergeants Reed and McLennan, Ben and myself questioned him for 3 hours. At 1:30 a.m., we took Angelo to the county jail where he was booked on suspicion of 501 vehicle code, hit-and-run felony. The next morning, we obtained a warrant from the district attorney's office, and later that day, Ralph Angelo was arraigned in Municipal Court Division 7. The date was set for his preliminary hearing in Municipal Court. Sheila Gordon recovered from her injuries and was released from the General Hospital. On October 10th, the preliminary hearing was held. Sheila Gordon was on the stand most of the morning. After the noon recess, I was called to testify.
Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear that the testimony about your finding in this case be the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
State your name.
Joe Friday.
Be seated. State your name, please.
Joe Friday.
Your address.
4656 Collis Avenue.
Your occupation.
I'm a police officer in and for the city of Los Angeles.
Are you one of the investigating officers assigned to this case?
I am.
Did you have a conversation with the defendant regarding this case?
I did.
Where?
In the traffic division at 123 South Figueroa Street.
Who's present?
The defendant, Sergeants McLennan, Reed, Romero, and myself.
Were the statements made by the defendant free and voluntary?
They were.
Were there any promise of immunity or reward or the use of force or violence induced in the next statement?
No, there was not.
You tell the court the extent of the conversation at that time.
Well, first of all, I asked him if he was the registered owner of a 1948 Plymouth automobile, California license number 17 Arthur 2804. He admitted that he was. And then I asked him if he was driving that car on the night of September 3rd. He said he was, but that he did not drive anywhere near the location of the hit-and-run felony that night at 7th and Carondelet Street.
Did the defendant tell you where he drove his car that night?
No, sir.
You asked the defendant where he drove his car that night of September 3rd?
Yes, I did.
And what did he answer?
Well, he said, it's none of your business.
Did you persist in this line of questioning?
Yes, I did.
The defendant continued to refuse to give you the information?
That's right.
Did the defendant state where he was on the night of September 3rd, between 10 p.m. and midnight?
He refused to tell us.
You advised the defendant at that time that his car had been impounded for investigation?
That's right.
Did you advise him that several points of incriminating evidence had been found in the car?
Yes, we did.
And what did he say in answer?
Well, he said, you can't prove a thing. I wasn't near the place. You can't prove a thing.
Was that the extent of the conversation between you and the defendant?
It was.
Thank you, that's all.
Counsel for defense?
No questions, Your Honor.
Leland Jones, come to stand.
Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear the testimony about to give pending in this case be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
State your name.
Lee Jones.
Please seated.
Your occupation?
I'm a police officer in and for the city of Los Angeles.
What particular detail are you assigned to?
I'm a lieutenant in charge of the police crime laboratory.
Well, counsel for defense stipulate the witness is a qualified forensic chemist?
So stipulated.
Mr. Jones, you are the commander in charge of the police department's scientific investigation division. Is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Jones, I will show you a photograph of an automobile. California license number 17A2804 to be marked People's Exhibit C. Have you ever seen this car before?
I have.
Where and when did you see it, please?
I saw it at the traffic division garage, 123 South Figueroa Street, Monday, October 6th this year.
Did you make an examination of this car at that time?
I did.
What did the examination consist of? And what were your findings?
I made a systematic examination of the car using oblique lighting from a 500-watt photo flood lamp and a bell-type reflector. I found the following evidence. On the front bumper of the car, I found fabric marks consisting of 51 threads to the inch. I then took a perpendicular photograph of those marks with a copy camera. Here is a photograph of that portion of the bumper containing those marks.
I wish this photograph be marked People's Exhibit D for identification.
Let it be so.
You proceed, please, Mr. Jones. What else did you find in your examination of the defendant's car?
I found fabric marks on the cowling of the car, extending back under the hood. These marks were made by fabric having a weave of 38 ribs to the inch. I have here a photograph of those marks.
Thank you. I'm going to ask this photograph to mark People's Exhibit E.
So, Mark.
What else did you find in your examination of the car, Mr. Jones?
I also noted an indentation in the right portion of the car's hood. It had the appearance of having been made by a soft object enclosed in fabric striking the car.
Would a human body struck by a car make such an indentation?
Yes, it would. Here's a photograph I took of that indentation on the defendant's car.
I'll ask this photograph to mark as People's Exhibit F.
So marked.
All right, continue, Mr. Jones.
On the top of the right-hand fender of the car, I found a lip imprint in red lipstick. I lifted that print with a piece of cellophane tape, then placed the tape on a plain white card, which I have right here with me.
Thank you. Ask this card to mark People's Exhibit G.
So marked.
Now, Mr. Jones, these pieces of evidence which you found on the defendant's car, did you compare them with other objects?
I did.
Will you please state what comparisons you made and your findings?
Well, in the first place, I find that the fabric marks in People's Exhibit C, taken from the bumper of the car, has the same count per inch as the stockings worn by the victim, Sheila Gordon. Secondly, I found the fabric marks shown in People's Exhibit D from the cowling hood of the car to be the same count per inch as the coat worn by the defendant. I further made a comparison between the lip imprint found on the right fender, as shown in People's Exhibit G, and various exemplars of the victim's lips. She made the exemplars by placing her lips against heavy, stiff white paper. I have those exemplars with me.
As they remarked as People's Exhibit H.
So marked.
Now, may I ask, how did the lip imprint taken from the defendant's car compare with these sample imprints made by the victim's lips?
I found that there were 17 points of similarity between the two. These points of similarity consist of various small lines or wrinkles which match identically, as may be seen in the photographs.
Jones, do you have an opinion as to the origin of the lip imprint on the defendant's car as shown in People's Exhibit G?
I do.
What is that opinion?
It's my opinion that the lip imprint on the defendant's car, as shown in Exhibit G, was made by the lips of the victim, Sheila Gordon.
With me.
Now, Mr. Jones, we recognize, of course, that you're a qualified forensic chemist. But are you going to set yourself up as an expert on women's lips, too?
Well, I've done some research in that department, too.
Mr. Jones, isn't it possible that any number of lip imprints made by different people would look exactly alike?
No, it is not possible. There are no two things in the world exactly alike. There are no two sets of lip imprints alike.
Well, anyone who's been around at all would know that. That's all, Mr. Jones. Thank you.
Repeat case, Your Honor.
Counsel for the defense?
We will not offer any defense at this time, Your Honor.
It appears to me that a felony has been committed and reasonable cause to believe that the defendant committed it. The defendant will be held to answer in Superior Court.
Tuesday, November 4th. Suspect Ralph Angelo was arraigned in Superior Court, Department 88, and the date of his trial was set for December 1st. During the weeks preceding the set of the trial, we worked with Lee Jones in the District Attorney's office preparing the case against Ralph Angelo. 2 days before the trial opened, we had a visit from one of the men from the DA's office, a process server. All right, Bert.
Hi. We got trouble.
Yeah?
Sheila Gordon's disappeared.
Wednesday, December 1st, Ralph Angelo's trial opened and Sheila Gordon was called to the stand. She failed to appear. We checked her few known friends in the city. They couldn't help. She had disappeared from her new address and taken everything with her. A bench warrant was issued by Superior Court for Sheila Gordon. The Deputy District Attorney succeeded in having the court grant a delay in order to find the missing girl, in this case, the complaining witness. Meantime, we got out a local broadcast and an APB. We got missing persons detail to help out in the search. Still no sign. Ralph Angelo's lawyer asked the court for dismissal of the hit-and-run felony case because of Sheila Gordon's failure to appear. On December the 8th, the court ruled on the motion.
Regarding the motion by the defense for dismissal of hit-and-run felony charges against Ralph C. Angelo, because of the prosecution's failure to produce the complaining witness, to wit Sheila R. Gordon, the court feels it would not serve the interests of justice to continue the case. Case dismissed.
The search for Sheila Gordon went on. Behind us, we had logged 3 solid months of police work, checking and running down more than 4,000 cars. Hours of labor in the crime lab. More hours pounding the pavement, questioning people, checking, rechecking. Without a trial and a conviction, it didn't mean a thing. 3 days before Christmas, we received information that the missing girl was living in a small town south of Los Angeles. Ben and I checked the address.
What was the apartment number?
7A, Wendy.
Oh, yeah. Again.
Yeah? Oh, you two. Come in. Sit down. Make yourself at home. I'm sorry the place is such a mess. A little party earlier tonight. It's messed up.
What about the trial? Why didn't you show?
Come on, sit down. See, I'll tell you what. I'll freshen up a little, put on some makeup.
What about the trial?
I didn't have anything against the guy. I didn't mean to run me down. You wouldn't happen to have a drink on you, would you?
You know better than that.
Why didn't you show up at the trial?
I told you I didn't have anything against the guy.
What was it, a payoff?
Look, why don't we go out and get something, then we can come back and have a party.
How much did he give you?
$50. He was awful nice.
You agreed not to show in court.
I didn't have anything against the guy, that's all.
Better get your coat.
Why?
That's what the court wants to know.
You're taking me in. Why? Is there any law against forgiving?
Yeah, when you get paid for it.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On February 3rd, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 88, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to Fatima. Here's the actual report.
From coast to coast, king-size Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes.
Long cigarette smokers find Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Long cigarette smokers find that Fatima is extra mild because it's the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima, best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Sheila Gordon was returned to Los Angeles, and a new date was set for the trial of Ralph Angelo. Subsequently, he was tried and found guilty as charged. Angelo was also tried, along with Sheila Gordon, for compounding a felony. They were both convicted and received the sentence as prescribed by law. They are now serving their terms in the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles.
The Halls of Ivy is especially pleasant listening tomorrow on NBC.
I get 10 a day and expenses from a detective bureau run by a guy named Anthony J. Lyon. They call me the Lion's Eye.
With Jack Webb as Jeff Regan, the Lion's Eye, stand by for hard-boiled action and mystery and thrilling adventure in tonight's story of the man who fought back.
There's a street crammed in between Wilton and Van Ness in Hollywood called Taft Avenue. It's a couple of blocks long. It only got there because the city planners had a few tons of cement left over from the Coliseum. On the corner, there's a gray building poking its way up through a crack in the pavement. That's where I live. Apartment K. 2 rooms with a connecting door to a broom closet. Oh, the place isn't much. A couple of chairs, and a bed that comes out of the wall, and a mattress that could pass itself off as a relief map of the High Sierras. Well, that's where I was the other night around 11, trying to catch some sleep. That's when my phone began making an impression. Turned out to be the Lion.
Hey, Regan, I'm glad I found you home. Are you alone?
What's the matter? Did you lose your voice?
Just a precaution. I got a hold of a good thing, and I don't want to lose it by indiscreet talk.
Well, then write me a letter.
We've just been hired. You start tonight.
It'll keep till morning.
Her name's Alice Lafarge. She can meet you in a bar called the Princess across the street from Pershing Square. Get going.
What's your trouble?
She'll tell you all about it when you get there.
Can't you tell me?
I haven't got the time right now, but there's nothing to it. I'd handle it myself if I didn't have a big deal on.
Flirting with widows in Pasadena, huh?
So I got a social engagement. It helps our business. Pays to be seen in high society.
And besides, the liquor's good.
You just get over to see the Lafarge dame. And give me a ring in the morning and let me know how you make out.
All right, lover.
Hey, Regan.
Huh?
What should I take to my Pasadena girlfriend? Flowers or candy?
You better take both. You're going to need all the help you can get. I threw on some clothes and I headed for town. My car found a parking lot off Olive, and I cut through Pershing Square to make it over to Hill. It was after midnight. A sailor was chasing a bow-legged Marine over the grass. He brought him down on about the 40-yard line. The Princess Bar showed up near the corner of 6th, a little place holding up 6 stories of granite. I went inside. A mustache was trying real hard on a piano. 200 pounds of bartender was moving a wet rag over the bar in slow motion. A girl was sitting on the far stool on a black purse with the initials ALF. Alice Lafarge. If you looked real hard, you could find her eyes. I gave up on her lips. I lowered myself onto the stool next to her. She looked tired, like a chorus girl on a Sunday morning.
Yes?
I'm Regan, international detective.
How do I know?
You will when you get the bill.
You're late, Mr. Regan.
Well, I didn't pick up any traffic tickets, if that's what you wanted.
Well, it doesn't matter. We have a few minutes yet.
What are we waiting for?
12:30. Can I buy you a drink, Mr. Regan?
You're calling it.
Bartender?
What'll it be, miss?
I'm not drinking. Serve the gentleman.
Scotch? Bourbon and water.
Got some pretty tasty scotch, buddy.
Bourbon.
Just trying. I get a commission on the scotch.
All right, lady, now let's have it.
You live far from here, Mr. Regan?
About 20 minutes.
Well, you better run home and throw a change of clothes into a suitcase.
Out-of-town job?
No, but you'll need a change. Bring along a deck of cards and a thick book.
Anything else?
Call off any dates you may have. You're going to be out of circulation for the weekend. Here's an address at the hotel on North Figueroa. Get there as soon as you can.
You still haven't said anything. What's the job?
You'll find out when you get there.
I'll get tired of waiting. Come on, lady, let's open it up.
Hey, buddy, scotch. Hey, you leaving us, miss? Next one's free.
Thanks, anyway.
Okay.
I'll beat at you and take that scotch with you.
Okay. Drink it myself. I still get the commission.
All right, now come on, sis. Let's have the rest of it.
I'm sorry, Mr. Regan. That's all I can tell you now. Just be at that address as soon as you can.
As she slid off the stool and moved for the front door, I caught a view of her in the mirror. There was nothing there to make a guy want an encore. Sandy hair, short, thin body that you could have slipped into a mailbox. Well, she threw the door shut behind her. A couple of seconds ticked by, and I moved out after her. I made the street just in time to see her climb into a cab and start up 6th. That's when I spotted the red Austin with an Illinois license, with a Glen plaid sleeve sticking out of the left side, and that's all I got of the driver, except that he was doing a real bad tag job on the Lafarge girl. The North Figueroa address Alice Lafarge gave me turned out to be the Gladstone Hotel. A 2-layer pile of wood so old that the termites were getting indigested. A short guy with a shiny head was catching up on his reading in the lobby. He put down the seat catalog long enough to tell me that apartment 3B was upstairs in the back. A couple of knocks on the door, and Alice let me in. Sitting in the corner was a bush of gray hair and a white face. Turned out to be a man with a worried look, like an alligator in a handbag factory.
Shut the door, Alice.
Yes, Dad.
Thanks for coming, Regan.
I'll let you know later if you're welcome.
Take his things, Alice.
No, I'm going to hang on to him for a while.
Suit yourself, but your coat will get heavy in a few hours.
What says I'm going to stay that long?
Me? That's what you're hired for.
What else?
Well, lots of time to get to that. Let's get to know each other first.
You got a name?
I'm Bill Lafarge. Sort of fancy, but I like it.
Give me some more.
Not much more. Just an old joker with nothing left but a few years and a regular dud.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Regan, this isn't my real address. I just moved here.
Yeah, the rent's low.
That's not it. Bill Lafarge can handle more.
All right, you can skip the bank statement, mister.
Will you please try to be civil, Mr. Regan?
That's not what you hired me for.
It's okay, Alice. Can't say I blame him.
All right, then. Let's throw it in gear, huh?
Not much to your job, Regan. Just spend a weekend with me.
I've had better offers.
Yeah, I did too in my time. Well, that's the easy part of it.
You got something hard?
You stay awake the next 48 hours and keep looking at me.
Who's after you?
Nobody.
I figure different.
You could be wrong.
Shades down, lights out, red Austin on a tag job.
What do you mean?
Plaid suit moved out after you when you left the Princess.
You sure you was following Alice?
Like you said, I could be wrong.
Get one thing straight, Regan. I never hire anybody to protect me. Bill Lafarge handles things like that himself. You're here as a witness.
What for?
Just in case somebody wants some testifying as to how I spent this weekend.
All right.
Now throw off your coat. Let's play a little cards.
Why not?
Alice, open the window. It's getting a little hot in here.
All right, Dad.
Big gin money?
You're dealing.
How high do you want to play? 2 bits if you...
Shots came flying in from the alley and didn't stop until they caught Alice Lafarge. They blew her back into the room, and she did a full turn like a ballet dancer showing off. By the time her father and I got to her, it was all over. The old man straightened up and began mumbling something about Red Austin. I stepped for the phone. I put in a call to Sanducci at Homicide. He took down the story and promised to send out some company. Then I cradled the phone. That's when I knew I was alone with the girl. Old man Lafarge had hot-footed it out of the building like a super chief on a holiday weekend. Well, the boys from Homicide showed in a couple of minutes, and they had a few questions. I gave them what I had, and Sanducci tabled the rest until the next day. So I went home to relax. You know, the Lion could have made a good detective. He always finds me.
Regan, I'm not paying you to sit at home. Get your coat on and explain this.
What?
This newspaper story. There's a big lie in here about the Lafarge dame getting killed. Now, I know you wouldn't allow that to happen to one of our clients.
It was real hard, but I managed.
I give you a simple little job and you turn it into a murder. You getting a commission from Forest Lawn?
You got your hands full, too.
What do you mean?
Sanducci will be visiting you with a pocket full of questions.
I don't know nothing about a shooting. I was out in Pasadena all night playing a guitar, and I got a sore finger to prove it.
Now, you listen to me, big shot. You better start sniffing around and turn up a Red Austin with a plaid suit behind the wheel.
What else?
Get some information on Bill Lafarge, the girl's father.
Hey, what's that?
You know, I bet if we open it, we'll find out.
Well, I better get a move on. Just open the door a little bit, and I'll squeeze by.
Yeah.
Hello, Lieutenant. Nice to see you, Sanducci.
Where's he going?
Get in line for Notre Dame tickets. When did you take up knocking, Sanducci, huh?
New directive went through the department. Show a little more courtesy.
You don't wear it well.
And I figure it's political. They're working on building up their gate for the next policeman's show.
Gotta put you on. You're worth a couple of laughs.
Yeah, I'll speak to the boys. How did you sleep last night, Regan?
Fine.
You shouldn't have. The murder should have given you nightmares.
There's always Ovaltine.
You know, some of the boys down at headquarters figure you know more about this shooting than you're saying.
Well, they made mistakes before.
No, I'm not saying. I feel like they do.
What do you want?
Who knocked off the Lafarge girl?
You're asking yourself.
Wrong answer.
How would you know?
She got it with a .45. What do you want?
You know what I own.
But I don't know about Lafarge.
The shot came in through the window. Even you can figure that.
It could have had help.
Talk to him.
I will when we pick him up. In the meantime, it's you and me.
You got nothing on me.
We found a roll of dough in a briefcase in the bottom bureau drawer. What was it doing there?
I don't know.
All right, Regan. Now let me give you a tip. The word's out Lafarge got a private war on. I don't want any more shooting, so I look at it this way. He's your client. I'm holding you responsible. And Regan.
Yeah?
What's in mangiare li soldi tutto tu paese, casi un brutaliere stupidi.
What's that mean?
Go find out. You're a detective.
Well, I don't suppose I'll ever find out. He slid out of the room, and I washed up and had a short breakfast at the corner drugstore and went to the morning paper. The Lafarge murder rated a lot of big type, and there was a picture of Alice right next to the weather report, slightly cooler. After the bottom showed my coffee cup, I went over to the Hollywood Library. The city directory gave William Lafarge an Orange Drive home address and occupation printer. The yellow phone book turned up a Lafarge Preston print shop on Santa Monica near La Brea. It was a small place, the color of stale peanut butter, and it was tucked in between a pet store and a beauty parlor. When I stepped inside the front door, the bell rang, and a couple of pair of tortoise shell glasses covering a couple of deep blue eyes looked at me. She was a brunette with light skin, and her voice sounded like it was diving for sponges. The print shop smell got lost in all that taboo.
Morning, sir. Can I help you?
I'm looking for Mr. Lafarge.
There's no Mr. Lafarge here.
Sign outside says there is.
It's an old one. Won't either one say it?
Now, that's another chapter.
Come turn the page. I think you'd enjoy it.
You know, you ought to put out cards.
Mr. Preston says business has picked up immeasurably since I started working here.
Let's get back to Lafarge.
I told you he's not here.
Well, try Preston for me.
He's very busy.
They can spare a couple of words.
Now, wait a minute.
Look,
you can't go in there. I'm sorry, Mr. Preston. I told him you were very busy.
All right, Lois. Who are you?
My name's Regan. I'm with International Detective. I got some questions about your partner.
Of course. Please leave us, Lois.
See you later, soldier.
Cigar, Mr. Regan?
No, I won't be here that long.
And naturally, I'll be only too happy to tell you anything I can. It was such a shock reading about his poor daughter's death. A wonderful girl.
Lafarge said that.
Yeah, you'd say it, too, if you knew her. She was very good to him. Well, Mr. Regan, what specifically can I tell you?
The book calls this place Lafarge Preston. Somebody's missing.
Well, you see, Bill and I were in partnership for years. When he decided to pull out, I just planned to leave the name the same.
When did he go?
Just a few weeks ago.
They give a reason?
I don't know exactly. Implied he had enough money or was coming into some. I'm not sure. But it happened so sudden, left me a little short-handed. Still having trouble finding a first-class engraver to take his place.
I left him sitting there chewing a panatella, and I moved out fast like a sailor on shore leave. It was about 11 and getting warmer. I picked up my car and went home. It took me 10 minutes to track down Sanducci.
Yeah?
Regan.
What do you want me for? Fix a traffic ticket?
Look, I got something for you.
Make it good.
I've been talking with Preston down at the print shop.
Yeah?
Lafarge stepped out kind of fast carrying a roll.
Mm-hmm.
Now, look, he knew engraving. I figure you ought to take a good look at that money. It may turn up phony.
I'm not impressed.
All right, I gave it to you. Do what you want.
Look, we checked into the dough already. It's absolutely legit. Now give up, Regan.
Navy didn't.
Sorry, Regan. Turn you down?
Who let you in?
Stranger in town. Just catching the sights.
Well, they're better outside.
He's off, Regan. You don't know who you're talking to.
Well, the name's a blank, but you drive a red Austin.
Yeah, it's not bad for a beginner. Hey, got a drink around?
Not for you, no.
If I were you, I'd show a little hospitality to an out-of-town boy.
Chicago. South Side, huh?
You're not being very nice.
You weren't invited.
But now that I'm here, that changes some things, huh?
What do you want?
A drink.
No sale.
Listen, fresh.
Get your hands off me, punk.
I'll go get 6. 45 always stops him.
Like it did Lafarge.
How about getting old Gus a drink, huh? 3 finger will do. Skip the water. You better fix one for yourself.
No, you're the type that drinks alone.
Oh, you better have one, Regan. It's going to be your last.
How do you figure?
Well, I look at it this way. A guy like me gets hired to do a job. Comes 2,000 miles for it, then pulls a boner.
Like knocking off the daughter instead of Lafarge, huh?
Yeah, that's it. Top that off with a witness sitting in the same room who spots my Red Austin. Now, let me ask you something. Can I leave him around breathing good air? According to me, nah.
Knees knocked together and he caved in like arches on a fat man. 4 quick steps took me to the door and I looked down the hall. Nothing there. So I made it for the stairway and I looked down the spiral. An old guy was taking the steps 2 at a time and stuffing a gun into his overcoat pocket. It was Bill Lafarge.
You were listening to the story of the man who fought back. Tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Commissions are still available in the Army Nurse Corps. Graduate registered nurses between the ages of 21 and 45 may qualify for service with this fine organization. Nurses may request active or inactive status. Those on active status enjoy the same privileges as regular Army officers. Those on inactive status may continue their civilian nursing duties, but stand ready to serve in time of emergency. If you are interested in joining the Army Nurse Corps and believe that you qualify for a commission, apply to the Adjutant General, Washington, D.C. And now, back to the story of the man who fought back and Jeff Regan, Investigator.
Well, things were moving kind of fast. The Lion sent me out to meet a girl named Alice Lafarge. She took me to her father, who wanted a bonded witness to be able to testify to his whereabouts that weekend. That's when a couple of shots came through the window and cut down the daughter. Before homicide put in an appearance, Bill Lafarge was gone, and he didn't show again until Gus killed Alice and then came to see me. And then there was a big roll of money and a print shop in the picture, but it was all out of focus. Well, I moved back into my apartment. The Chicago hood was still there, lying on my rug, and I picked up the phone to call Lieutenant Sanducci. I'd just gotten a couple of numbers out when I caught a familiar smell. It was a load of taboo, and it was packing a .32.
Put the phone down, Regan.
Why?
Because I'm asking you nicely. Put it down. Homicide can wait. Gus isn't going anyplace.
You got a plan, lady?
Mm-hmm.
Well, get back to that print shop and you'll stay out of trouble.
Mr. Preston's so nice. He gave me the afternoon off. I told him my mother got sick.
All right, lady. Tell me about it.
I'm looking for something.
Name it.
The ignition key to Gus's Austin. Now move over there and get it for me.
What's wrong with your car?
I ran out of gas. Move.
Okay.
Take his gun away. Now try the overcoat pockets. Throw him.
All right. Good catch.
So they tell me. So long, Regan.
I put in a quick call to homicide, and then I waited a couple of minutes to give her a chance to get a head start. When I stepped out of the building, the Red Austin was just turning a corner. I followed in my car. We wound up in Glendale. She pulled into a duplex driveway next to an empty lot, and I pulled in under a pepper tree up the street a ways. And then she got out and unlocked the trunk. She looked inside, ripped up the floor matting and then the boards. When she slammed the trunk shut, it figured that she didn't find what she was looking for. Well, 25 minutes later, I found the Lion sitting behind his desk down at the office. He had a bottle of beer in one hand and a package of Sen-Sen in the other. Spread out in front of him was a typewritten piece of paper that he'd just slipped out of his Remington. He had a puzzled look, like a little boy caught in a mixmaster.
Regan, where you been?
Around.
I've been looking all over for you. Sanducci's been calling in every 3 minutes.
What's he want?
The story on how Gus got laid out in your apartment.
Well, I'll drop him a note.
He wants it now.
He's got time. He doesn't come up for a pension for years. They turn up Lafarge yet?
No, but I turned up something. What would you say if I told you Lafarge did time once?
On a counterfeit rap?
How'd you know?
It figured. That Lois dame was scratching around for something.
The feds put him away for 10 years for making up some phony bonds or stocks or something like that.
How's his daughter fit?
She waited for him till he got out and then tried to help him play straight.
What'd you get on Gus?
Who cares about him?
Lois.
Lafarge wasn't in on that bond job alone.
Who else?
He had a partner, the guy who runs the print shop, Preston.
Well, you're doing better.
I figure it this way. Preston's got a new racket, and J. Edgar would be real happy to know all about it.
Yeah.
We're going to be the ones to tell him.
How much is the reward?
I don't even know if there is one.
Oh, stop it. When gold went up to $35 an ounce, you pulled your mother's teeth.
Regan, you're getting out of line.
And then you bawled her out for not having more cavities.
Now, you get over to Preston and have a talk with him.
Yeah.
Regan.
Yeah?
Remember, if we crack this thing, it'll mean more money in your pocket, too.
No room for it with your hand there already. I left him sitting there doodling dollar signs, and I went out into the street. It was turning evening. I picked my car out of the lot, and 30 minutes later, I stopped on the corner of Santa Monica and La Brea. The fog was rolling in by then, and the streetlights were trying real hard. I walked to the front door of the print shop. I shook it a little, but nothing gave, so I moved around to the back. The place inside was as dark as a saloon in Kansas, but somebody inside was handy with a gun. So I cracked the window with a rock, and I climbed inside. It smelled like target practice on a rifle range. Preston was curled up on the floor like a piece of wet tissue paper, and there were 2 holes in him. Well, the game wasn't over, but they were running out of players. I moved for the phone to call the police, and that's when I spotted Bill Lafarge. He was slumped down in a chair with a gun in his hand, and he looked tired. It took a lot of shaking to bring any words out of him. Hey, come on, Lafarge. Hey.
I'll shake and I'm up. He dead?
Yeah?
Yeah, he was a bum.
Want to give me that gun?
Sure. You got a call into the cops?
No, not yet.
We'll use my car.
Any way you want it.
Yeah, don't matter much no more. Things go easy for some guys. Other guys get all the rocks.
You got a couple of answers?
Why not? Preston did a tie-in with a gambling syndicate out of Las Vegas. Some joker had a hot idea.
Keep going.
Counterfeit 20,000 New Year's Day bull tickets and sell them on the open market at $5 plus.
That's big business at $100,000.
But I didn't take. Preston got sore because I wouldn't do the engraving and he got somebody else.
That doesn't add up to murder.
Yeah. Did when his head got working overtime worry and I had too many answers.
And he hired that Chicago boy with the bad eyes.
Yeah. He got my daughter by mistake.
Yeah. Where are the bowl tickets?
Who cares?
How does Lois fit?
I don't know.
All right.
Front door is closer to my car. You drive, Regan. All traffic makes me nervous.
Well, Lafarge was driving a Nash, and it was parked at a filling station. We fought the night traffic downtown to police headquarters and tore Sanducci away from his pinochle game. He sent a couple of boys out to clean up the print shop and then moved Lafarge into a room with a secretary to get the story on paper. I'd heard it before, so I started for home, but Sanducci had other ideas. He put me in a private little room with white walls, and he told me to wait. I thought maybe he'd gone on his vacation, but he finally came in.
Yeah, getting tired of waiting, Regan?
Do you care?
No.
You got something to say?
Maybe.
Well, then spit it out, because I got a date.
It'll keep.
Why are you holding it?
I had to do some checking.
You got all you need?
I didn't think so.
Well, you got it now.
Get still, Regan. I'm not ready to let you go.
Now, listen, Power. Just because you're wearing a badge inside that coat...
Shut up and listen to me. It took me 18 years to turn in those overstuffed shoes for thin soles. I'm not letting a 250 detective tell me how to handle my business.
You could stand it.
You and that crummy boss of yours are licensed by the state of California, and we can lift it for acts detrimental to public welfare. We got a whole blotter full.
Tell that to the lion.
I'm telling it to you. Now, that's all. Beat it.
Okay.
Oh, Regan.
Yeah?
One thing more. There's a big hole in Lafarge's story.
What do you mean?
Look at his gun.
Well, what about it?
Look at the caliber.
It's a .38.
That's not the weapon that killed Gus and Preston. You sure you don't own a .32?
Well, Lafarge was more used up than he figured. He couldn't tell where the dream left off and the murders began. Oh, the whole thing was a screwy picture, but the artist had a woman's touch. 25 minutes later, I pulled my car to a stop in front of a lemon-colored duplex out in Glendale. A high school boy, breathing hard, told me that the good-looking girl lived upstairs. I just hit the top of the landing when the door of her apartment opened and a couple of pieces of airplane luggage moved out. Her ticket didn't show, but it figured to be marked for Las Vegas. When Lois saw me, she looked kind of confused, like a penguin in Death Valley.
Regan.
Hey, your memory's good.
I wish you'd told me you were coming. I was dressed for it.
Oh, it's better this way. You're fixed for traveling.
What do you mean?
We talk about it inside, huh?
I'd like to. You know that, but I have a few things...
Come on, move it, lady.
Well, what's come over you?
What's inside the suitcase?
You can work that out yourself, Regan. You've been by a woman's shop.
Throw it open.
It'll embarrass you.
I'll take a chance. All right, now dump it over. Come on, sis. Your time's running out. Oh, yeah, sure.
Kirsten had the tickets in an asbestos box hidden in the furnace. I finally turned them up. Regan, they're worth over $100,000.
Yeah, that's what Lafarge said.
I know where to unload them.
It won't do you any good.
What do you mean?
There's no P exit to hatch it. Come on, don't scramble for that 32. It's out of reach.
Let go of me.
You threw those holes into Gus and Preston, figuring homicide had stick Lafarge with a rap, knowing he was out for revenge.
Let me go.
Even the old guy didn't know what was going on.
No, he didn't.
No, but ballistics did.
Regan.
Yeah.
This could mean a lot of dough to us, you and me. We form a partnership.
Yeah. Before it's getting damp.
Don't be a piker. Here's your chance to really turn into something.
Well, now you can check with me when you get out, lady, to see if I made it. Well, it all blew apart fast like an atom at Caltech. Sanducci came down and picked up Lois. She had herself a pretty good thing for a while. Preston could run off the phony bowl tickets, and all she had to do was to sell them. Even though murder got thrown in, she could have stayed clean if she hadn't got her gun calibers mixed. Well, Lafarge was walking the streets in a couple of hours, and the Lion was real happy the way things worked out. He got his picture in the Police Gazette and picked up 2 bona fide passes to the Rose Bowl game. He promised to take me to the game with him. He did. He let me have the ticket at the regular price.
Jack Webb is featured as Jeff Regan with Herb Butterfield as Anthony J. Lyon. It's CBS at the same time next week for more hard-boiled action and mystery with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Written by Larry Roman, produced by Sterling Tracy. Alice was played by Lorette Bilbrandt. Charles Steele was Preston. Ken Christie was Lafarge. Jack Petruzzi was Sanducci. Yvonne Tatey was Lois. And Sidney Miller was Gus. 29,000 nurses are needed now to join the new Army Nurse Corps Officers Reserve. For the first time in history, qualified nurses have the opportunity of receiving commissions in the regular Army Reserve. These nurses will remain on inactive status, ready to serve their country in time of emergency. 4,000 of them, if they wish, may choose active duty. All nurses who receive commissions will benefit from the opportunity for specialized training offered to them by the Army. Inactive reserve status will not interfere with the nurse's civilian life, but the educational opportunities offered her by the Army Medical Department will be of great advantage in her work. So don't wait. If you're a registered graduate nurse between the ages of 21 and 45, drop a card for complete information to the Adjutant General, Washington, D.C. Original music for this program is by Milton Charles. Bob Stevenson speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to Bunko Fugitive Detail. You receive information an escaped criminal is hiding out in your city. He's dangerous. He may be armed. Your job, get him.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke king-size Fatima. Fatima is the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make Fatima extra mild. And that's why Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. So, enjoy Fatima, the best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild. Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Thursday, April 27th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of Bunko Fugitive Detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Blaine Steed, captain of Bunko Fugitive. My name's Friday. I was on the way back from communications, and it was 6:45 p.m. when I got to room 38, the squad room. Hi.
How are you?
How about some dinner?
Well, we got one to check out first. Here's the teletype. Skipper just brought it in.
Thanks. From San Rafael, huh? Pick up and hold for this department one Alfred Garvey. Wanted for suspicion, forgery, robbery. This man poses as a fingerprint expert from San Rafael Police Department.
Here's his mug book from the Record Bureau.
Mm-hmm. We're informed Garvey is registered at the Fair Deal Hotel, your city. Where's that?
Over near First and Broadway.
Yeah. Please advise us on his arrest, and officers will arrive with warrant signed. Chief Police Frank Kelly, San Rafael, California.
Shouldn't take long to pick him up.
All right, we can eat later, I guess.
Hi.
Hi, Max. What are you doing around? I thought you took off on vacation.
I am. Just came back to pick up some stuff in my locker.
Soft touch?
Sure. Listen, the wife's got the car there. Are you guys going anywhere near North Main and Daly?
Yeah, we're going to leave right now.
Oh, okay. Let me grab my coat.
All right.
You live out near Highland Park, don't you, May?
Yeah. Well, I took the kids shopping in the car this afternoon. Had to get them shoes for our vacation. Kids sure scuff up the toes in a hurry.
All right, you all set?
Let's go.
Where are you going on your vacation?
Big Bear. We're going to stay the whole 3 weeks. The in-laws own a cabin up there. They even pay the utilities for us.
It's pretty nice.
Only one trouble.
What's that?
They're coming with us.
Oh.
Where'd you park?
In the captain's stall.
All right.
All right, in the back.
Okay.
You two still working on that Valley case?
No, we washed it up Monday.
What's this one?
Teletype from San Rafael. I want some guy picked up. Here's a mugshot.
Who's Richards going to work with while he's gone, May?
I don't know. What's the crowd up ahead?
Oh, yeah. Shriners Convention. I forgot they were having a parade tonight.
You better stay over to one side. I think we can get through all right. Watch those kids there.
Yeah, there we go.
That's the place up ahead, isn't it?
Fair deal, yeah.
We got to stop by this hotel a minute, Max. You want to wait here?
I'll come in.
All right.
It's a big turnout for the parade, huh?
Yeah, it's a big crowd.
Fair Deal Hotel. Look at those rates. 35 cents a day, $2 a week.
Yes, sir. Can I help you? Police officers, would you look at this picture, please?
All right. Maybe registered as Alfred Garvey.
Garvey sure came in yesterday. The picture makes him look old.
Is he in now?
Well, let's see. Garvey, room 307. The key's gone. He must be in.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Elevator's down there at the end of the hall.
Okay.
The elevator's in use.
Let's take the stairs.
I'll wait for you here. I want to see the parade.
Okay, man. I've never seen it to fail.
It's
Stairs. Every time my arch is hurt, we get a thief to check who lives upstairs.
just one more flight.
Yeah.
305, 307.
Door's open.
Let's have a look. Come on.
It's empty. Nothing in the closet, huh?
Yeah. Pretty fast checkout.
Just came from downstairs.
The lobby. Come on.
Yep.
Come on, hurry up.
Hey, stop him! Stop that guy, police! The police!
It's Maxwell. Max, are you all right?
He went out the door, blue suit.
It was Garvey. He shot your friend.
Call an ambulance.
He ran out the door and shot your friend.
Come on, Ben. Call that ambulance, will you? Hey, you. Did you see a man come out of this hotel?
What'd you say?
Did you just see a man come out of this hotel?
That one? I don't know.
All right, Ben, you go that way. I'll check up this way.
Yeah, right. What's that matter? Watch where you're going, huh?
Did you see a man running up this way just now, about my height, blue suit?
Huh? No, I didn't see anybody. Did you see anybody?
Hey, boy.
Yeah, you want a paper, mister?
No, listen, did you see a man running by here a minute ago in a blue suit?
Well, maybe. I didn't notice it. You want a paper?
I'm sorry. Sorry, lady. Ben, over here.
No.
Did you spot him?
No, we're going to need help.
All right, come on.
I called the ambulance. You better help your friend. He's bleeding. I don't know what to do.
Ben, get a hold of communications. Get some help out here.
Right.
The guy came down in the elevator. It was Garvey, your friend, trying to stop him. Garvey shot him right in the face.
All right, stop yelling,
He was
huh?
terrible. Now, look, he's bleeding. You better do something.
Will you shut up? Max, how is it?
Chest hurts.
Yeah, all right, easy, huh?
Garvey came out of the elevator fast with a gun.
All right, take it easy now.
Joe, I got communications there blocking off the area.
That's fine. Watch that front door. Will you keep those people out of here?
Yeah.
Chest.
I'll be here in a minute, boy.
Call the wife, Eleanor.
Ambulance is here.
Yeah.
He looks bad.
Well, he's not going to get any worse.
Hmm?
He's dead. The name on the personnel report said John Warren Maxwell, Sergeant, Los Angeles Police Department, badge number 10377. Nearest living relative, wife, Eleanor Jean Maxwell. Dependents, John Maxwell, Jr., 6 years. Deborah Lee Maxwell, 2 years. Death in line of duty, April 27, 7:15 p.m. John Maxwell's body was removed from Georgia Street to the county morgue. At 7:45, a special detail of men from homicide and bunco fugitive were on the scene to aid in the investigation of the killing. The neighborhood where the Fairdale Hotel was located was covered for a half mile around. By 9 o'clock, the parade was over and the area was cleared. We had a single lead to work with. In checking out the different taxi cab stands in the neighborhood, we found out that 3 separate fares had been picked up within 2 blocks of the hotel 4 minutes after the shooting. Ben and I went to the offices of the taxi cab company. The cabs in question were called in and the way bills were checked. The times of the 3 different trips were listed, and so was the address of each destination. We copied down the addresses and then interviewed the drivers.
We're going to give each one of you half a dozen pictures. I'd like to see if you can identify any of them as passengers you picked up tonight near the Fairdale Hotel.
All right, here you go.
There you are.
4, 5, 6. Check them carefully, please.
Here are yours right here. Take a good look at each one of them.
Okay, thanks.
Now, fellas, take your time. Look them all over real good before you make up your mind.
Yeah, here's the one, Sergeant. No mistake.
Let me see. Where'd you pick up this man?
About a block from the hotel. I drove him to a place on 14th Street. Same address on the waybill.
Ben?
Yeah?
Alfred Garvey. Ben and I, along with Ricketts and Chandler from Homicide, drove out to the 14th Street address, another small transient hotel. The clerk on duty identified Garvey from his mugshot. He said the suspect had called at the hotel at about 7:45 that night and asked to see one of the guests, Mrs. Lorraine Thomas. The clerk said he told Garvey Mrs. Thomas was out, that she hadn't been there for 4 days. Ricketts and Chandler went on a stakeout in the lobby of the hotel, and Ben and I went up to the second floor to stake out Mrs. Thomas's room. Friday, 11:25 a.m. Lorraine Thomas returned to the hotel and was taken into custody. We took her to homicide and questioned her for more than an hour. She admitted that she was acquainted with Garvey, but that's all. 1 o'clock. We went to Clifton's cafeteria for lunch.
Here, take this tray.
Thanks.
Silverware?
Get here a little earlier, you wouldn't get this. Look at that line running.
You were the first one he ran to after the shooting.
Well, Garvey doesn't have many friends in Los Angeles. Maybe that's why he looked me up. I'll have the mixed green salad, please.
What kind of work does Garvey do, do you know?
He told me he was in the Merchant Marines.
Coleslaw.
Some of that potato salad, please. Do you know what he does in the Merchant Marine?
He told me a steward. French dressing, please.
Do you know any of his friends in town?
No, I don't. Rye bread. Can I have an extra butter, please?
French roll. What kind do you want, Ben?
Give me some of those biscuits. Thank you.
Does Garvey usually stay at the Fair Deal Hotel when he's in town?
I don't know.
That split pea soup sure looks good, and...
We told you that the police up north were looking for him.
Yeah, I know you did. Like I told you, I've been out with him a few times. That's all I know about him.
He must have introduced you to some of his friends.
I'll have the prime ribs there. Rare. That piece there.
How about it? Did you ever meet any of his friends?
Yeah, one or two. No gravy.
Meatloaf, brown gravy. Remember any of the names of his friends?
I just met him, that's all. I don't remember.
Let me have a roast turkey. Go kind of heavy on that dressing, will you? Did you ever go out with any of them?
No.
Why do you think Garvey went to your hotel after the shooting?
I don't know.
Maybe he figured you'd hide him.
I don't know why you should.
He killed a man and headed straight for your place. Doesn't make you look too good.
I can't help that. I like some of those string beans, please.
Miss Thomas, you know it's going to go hard on you if you're holding back information on Garvey.
I'm not.
Why don't you take some of that summer squash, Joe? It's good for you.
Well, I can't eat that much. When did you first meet Garvey?
About 3 years ago, up in St. Helena.
You might as well keep your nose clean.
How do you mean?
We're going to reach you, Miss Thomas. You might as well tell us all you know.
Look, if Garvey's killing people, I don't want to have any more to do with him.
We do. Now, where is he?
I told you, I don't know.
Squash, please.
You said you had a little boy, didn't you, Miss Thomas?
Do we have to talk about it now? I thought we were going to have lunch.
How old's your little boy?
He's 7 years old.
Where is he now?
He's in school up in San Francisco. Isn't this line going awful slow?
It's lunchtime. You know that cop that Garvey killed last night?
Mashed potatoes, country gravy.
Did you hear what I said?
Yes, I know he killed a cop.
He had a little boy, too.
There's nothing I can do.
No potatoes, thanks.
Yeah, there's something you can do, Miss Thomas. You can tell us where Garvey is.
If I knew, I'd tell you.
French fries, please.
You're kidding us, Miss Thomas, but we're not going to kid you. You know a lot more about this than you're telling us.
Maybe I do, but I'm scared.
Who are you afraid of?
Look, why can't you count me out of this? I don't want any part of it.
You're in all the way. The only way you're going to get out is to tell us what you know.
He'll kill me. Suppose something happens to me, nobody's going to worry about my kid.
You don't have to worry. He's not going to find out.
No dessert, please.
They'll both kill me.
Both? Who's the other one?
Well, what's the use? Trouble, no matter what you try to do, nothing but trouble.
Garvey's working with somebody, is that it?
His name's Jack Fleming.
Yeah?
They made me promise to cover for him. Give him a place to hide out whenever the heat was on.
Then you know where they are.
No, I don't, and that's the truth.
Why do they need a place to hide out?
You said Garvey killed a cop.
What about Fleming?
Hey, Joe, you better move along.
Oh, I'm sorry. What about Fleming?
We're going to pull some jobs.
All right, we can skip the dessert. Come on. I'll take a check for all of them.
Let's go.
What kind of jobs? Where?
Hold up. Tomorrow night. Three Kings Liquor Store out in Wilshire.
Let's sit down.
They're both the same, Garvey and Fleming. They can't hold a gun without using it.
Here's the table. Oh, you dropped your tray. I'll get you some more.
Don't bother. I'm not hungry anymore.
are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation, presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of Lee Silver, general assignment reporter on one of New York's greatest newspapers. This is his actual signed statement.
When you have to meet a news deadline, you work at a fast pace, smoke at a fast pace. That's why I smoke Fatima. They're extra mild. In my opinion, it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
And more smokers are discovering this every day. Actual figures show Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy Fatima yourself.
The long cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Saturday, April 29th. Last rites were held for Sergeant John Maxwell, and he was buried at Holy Cross Cemetery. A guard of honor from the police department was present, along with most of the men Maxwell had worked with in Bunko Fugitive Detail. The chief of detectives delivered a short eulogy, and one of the men from the department band sounded taps over the grave. We got back to the office at noon, checked in at the record bureau. The photocopy room had taken negatives of Garvey's and Fleming's coming out mugs and made duplicates that were distributed to all officers. The stakeouts continued at the Fair Deal in the 14th Street Hotel where Lorraine Thomas was staying. She was put under protective custody. Ben and I, Ricketts and Chandler, went on stakeout at the Three Kings Liquor Store on Wilshire Boulevard. It was a large, modern place that did a volume business, especially on Saturday night. Ricketts and Chandler covered the store from the outside. Ben and I were stationed in the supply room at the rear of the place, where we had the main counter and most of the store in full view. We set up a prearranged signal with the clerk on duty, and if and when Garvey and Fleming showed up, the clerk was to accidentally knock an empty bottle off the counter. We waited until midnight. Nothing happened.
It's the first customer in half an hour. It's kind of slow.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Here comes another one.
No sale. It's a woman.
The clerk sure got the jitters.
Well, I'll put in with him.
Well, I could go for a hamburger.
What did you eat dinner?
I wasn't very hungry then.
Oh, I got an almond bar. You want it?
Yeah, thanks. Wait a minute. Another customer.
Yeah, man. Can't see his face too well with that hat on, can you?
That's Fleming. Come on. Police officers, get your hands up.
Watch it, Joe. You hit him.
He's going out the front. Come on.
Ricketts and Chandler stopped him.
Yeah, he's down. Watch him. Get the gun.
Yeah. Yeah, here it is.
That's Fleming, all right. Ricketts, call an ambulance.
What's the score?
Looks like one in the shoulder and legs, too.
What about Garvey?
I don't know.
What do you think?
Fleming stopped all the slugs.
Yeah.
Let's ask him. The wounded suspect was treated at Georgia Street Receiving Hospital and then booked into the prison ward at the General Hospital. At 11 a.m. the next day, we questioned him, but he refused to admit that he even knew Alfred Garvey. We re-questioned Fleming for the next 3 days with no results. The stakeouts continued. The search went on. There was no response to our APB. Garvey was still at large. As far as we were concerned, there was only one way to get directly to Garvey, and that was through Fleming. We called on Lorraine Thomas again and asked her that if she'd try to get some information on Fleming, try to get him to talk and to tell her where Garvey was.
I'm not even sure if he knows where Garvey's hiding.
He must have a good idea.
Even if he has, he's not going to tell me. He wouldn't trust me that far.
He'll go further with you than he will with us. He won't even give us his name.
I'm afraid it's up to you, Miss Thomas.
Why can't you let me out of this?
Hey, look, figure it this way. You knew about Fleming and Garvey. You knew they were in town. You knew what they were up to. You didn't break your back to save that dead cop's life.
Garvey shot him. I did.
You knew he was a killer. You knew he had a gun.
What do you want me to do?
Get close to Fleming. Visit him every day till he talks.
But he doesn't trust me, I told you.
Then get him to trust you, will you? Do favors for him. He wants to contact friends to raise money for a lawyer. Help him do that. Run errands. Do anything for him within reason.
Suppose he finds out about the holdup. That I told you about it.
He's got a long stretch ahead of him. He won't bother you.
They'll kill me if they find out. They wouldn't wait a minute.
They won't find out.
All right. Won't be my fault. Al did the shooting. He killed the cop. Let him square it up.
He'll square it with the court. There's only one trouble.
Yeah?
Maxwell's wife and kids. How does Al square it with them? On the morning of May 8th, suspect Jack Fleming was removed from his private room and wheeled down to the X-ray lab on the pretext of treatment. While he was absent, a dictaphone was placed in his room by a sound crew from the crime lab. Fleming was then returned. That afternoon, while Ben and I listened in on earphones in the next room, Lorraine Thomas paid her first visit to Fleming. We had briefed her on how to proceed in getting the suspect to talk, in particular, to reveal Garvey's hideout. It was a slow process. For the next 15 days, between the hours of 2 and 4 in the afternoon, Mrs. Thomas visited Fleming while Ben and I monitored their conversation in the adjoining room. For 15 days, despite all her shows of confidence, Fleming refused to confide. He was sullen and close-mouthed. Some afternoons he would hardly speak to her. On the 16th day, his mood seemed to be improving.
Here. Let me fix that pillow for you, Jack. There. Is that better?
Yeah. That's good. Thanks.
I got in touch with Dave and Johnny like you asked me to.
Huh? What'd they say?
Well, they said they could get you the money for the lawyer the day after tomorrow. And Dave said he might be over to see you tonight.
Yeah, that's fine. Once I get a lawyer, I'll stop worrying.
I stopped by Danelli's place, too. Pop Royce wasn't there. I'm going back tomorrow to see him. He ought to be able to help.
You've been okay, Larry. I won't forget it.
Oh, that's what friends are for. Jim, sure sorry you had to get it this way.
Forget it. I can give it back where it came from.
Say, I brought you some new magazines, a couple of candy bars.
Swell. Put them over here near the bed, will you?
Yeah, sure. Let me get them for you. There, Jack. See, I'll put them right here on this table. I'll bring you some more tomorrow.
That's fine. You're going to try and see Pop Royce again tomorrow?
Yeah, they told me he'd be in around noon for sure. If I don't see him then, I'll keep trying till I do.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, listen. There's something else.
Sure, Jack.
Come here.
Hmm?
I don't want to talk loud. The cops might have bugged this room.
Yeah. All right.
A little closer.
Okay.
Tonight, I want you to go to George's joint, the Blue Moon, down on South Flower.
Yeah?
And ask for George at the bar. He's usually around from 11 on.
Uh-huh.
Tell George you've seen me. He'll know it. Then tell him to take you to Al.
To take me to Al?
Yeah, Al Garvey. George knows the place.
Yeah. Okay, Jack.
And keep your mouth shut. Don't talk to anybody but George. He knows the place.
All right, Jack. They'll help you out.
Well?
Yeah.
It's a long wait.
Get paid? Let's go. 10:45 p.m. A detail of 3 cars followed Lorraine Thomas to the Blue Moon Tavern on South Flower Street. We parked down the block and watched her go in. At 15 minutes past 11, she came out with a small, fat man in a dark blue suit. They got in a tan-colored coupe and drove south. The cruiser cars, using 3-way radio, tailed the coupe alternately out through the Echo Park area and then back to the starting point at the Blue Moon Tavern. Lorraine Thomas went back into the bar with a man and 20 minutes later came out, caught a taxi, and took it to her hotel on 14th Street. We drove back to the office. It was 5 minutes past 1 a.m.
That's it?
I get it. Uncle Fugitive Friday.
Lorraine Thomas, Sergeant. He showed me the place George did.
Where?
We drove past it. 1032 Alamo, apartment 3.
Is Garvey there now?
No. George said he's supposed to be there tomorrow in the afternoon, 5 o'clock. George said I'll have to go alone.
They're watching the place?
I think so. Garvey's staying with another man. They got guns.
You know where Garvey is now?
George wouldn't tell me.
We can't afford to tip our hand. How do we know Garvey will be there at 5 o'clock tomorrow?
That's just it. We don't.
May 9th, 3 p.m. An immediate stakeout was placed at the suspected hideout. A detail of 20 plainclothesmen began filtering into the neighborhood in the vicinity of 1032 Alamo Street. The 3-story apartment house at that address was checked thoroughly and then covered on all sides. Apartment 3 on the first floor was checked out, too. It was registered to a Thomas King, whom the manager identified as Alfred Garvey from his mugshot. To avoid pedestrian casualties, we toured the immediate vicinity between 3 and 4:30 that afternoon, advising residents and storekeepers to clear the street and stay inside. At 4:35 p.m., the men in the detail took up their assigned positions. We waited.
Hold that light, will you, Jim?
Yeah.
Thanks. Awful lot of trouble for that punk Garvey.
Be more trouble if he doesn't show.
No such luck. Tan coupe coming down the street behind us.
Same one we tailed last night.
A girl driving. There's 2 guys with her.
Yeah, Garvey's one of them. They're pulling up.
Ready?
Oh, wait a minute. All right, let's go. Police officers, hold it right there.
Cops!
Don't get down. Get behind the car.
Throw him in, Garvey. You haven't got a chance.
Hell, break for the house!
All right, hold it, Ben.
That's it. Both of them.
Come on.
Both dead. Garvey. The other guy. Rotten case.
Rotten business.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On August 2nd, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 93, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, king-size Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes.
Long cigarette smokers find Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Long cigarette smokers find that Fatima is extra mild because it's the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima. Best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Jack Fleming, the only survivor of the hold-up gang, was found guilty of several counts of armed robbery. Garvey's accomplices who aided him in hiding out were tried and convicted of being accessories. They are serving prison terms as prescribed by law. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles.
The Halls of Ivy is pleasant listening tomorrow on NBC.
Novak. For hire. Sure. Contact
That's what the sign out in front of my office says. Pat Novak for hire. It's up there in block letters, but down on the waterfront in San Francisco, good printing doesn't mean a thing. You get that on a death certificate. If you're trying to make a living down here, you're not going to have any standing in the community except in a police lineup. I rent boats and do anything else that goes with a weak will and a strong stomach. Well, it's not all bad. Once in a while, something happens that makes you feel good for a moment. Like remembering somebody you kissed a long time ago. But most of the time, you buy your beer the hard way. It works out all right because most people learn to fall in love with a dollar bill and forget about trouble. And everything sounds all right, but sometimes it isn't. Like saying Happy New Year to a lifer. I found that out Wednesday night. I was sitting in the office with a sports page reading about those big tears that Washington senators were shedding when I saw Crockett Odom for the first time. He was a big red-faced guy, and the veins stood out on his face and made a pattern as if he slept on an alligator bag instead of a pillow. He walked over to the desk and started to get quiet in a loud voice.
I want to talk to you, Mr. Novak.
Go ahead, pile up a lead.
My name's Odom. You've heard of Crockett Odom.
I don't get around. Tell me about it.
I'm a lawyer. I want you to watch a client for me. Her name is Wendy Morris.
Is she hard to watch?
You can get bloodshot eyes just looking at her. She drinks a little.
What's a little?
How should I answer that?
Any way you like. A pint, a quart. What's a little, Odom? Is she a dipso?
We'll leave it there. She can make a quart of gin disappear while anybody else is looking for the corkscrew.
Mm-hmm. What am I supposed to do? Hide the bottles?
Mr. Novak, a full-grown octopus couldn't do that. I'm afraid this is more serious. It involves her husband.
Let her take a drink and lose him. It'll save you money.
It involves her husband or somebody who's supposed to be her husband.
Oh, she got a bad memory?
She's a very wealthy girl, Mr. Novak. 5 years ago, she married a man by the name of Stanley Morris. Immediately after, he went into uniform.
You make it sound selfish.
She's been gone ever since until a month ago. Spent most of that time overseas. The rest in a government hospital.
Yeah?
Now that he's back, something very peculiar has happened. I don't think the man is her husband.
Well, that's a hard part to play. She got any theories?
I think she suspects, too. I don't know why I feel that way. He seems to have picked up where he left off. Knows everything about her. Seems normal, but I'm sure the man is an imposter.
Look, Odom, find a corner and patch up that story. You can't get that nearsighted on 5 years' booze.
You don't understand, Mr. Novak. He was seriously injured. That makes identification hard.
You think Stanley Morris is dead?
I think he died somewhere along the line. This man took his place.
That's a lot of trouble just to share a board and room with a boozer.
Not if he can share it with someone else on her money. That's why I want you to watch her, particularly tonight.
Why tonight? Is Stanley full of temper?
It's been leading up to this. He wants her to go to a gambling club. And I know he's too friendly with the owner of the club. I want you to go along as a friend.
Now, look, mister, I wouldn't go as her friend to a masquerade ball. If you're making a deal, make it out in the open.
Do it your own way, Novak. It's $300. Earn it any way you can.
Yeah. Where's the club?
She'll take you. Just pick her up at this address.
Mm-hmm. Does she know about it?
She'll understand you. In fact, that's the only risk you run.
Hmm?
I told you she drinks most of the time. But when she doesn't, you're the type she gobbles up.
I'll bring some cheese instead.
That won't do any good. It's not the flavor she likes, Mr. Novak. It's the crunch. Good night.
When Odom walked out of there, I knew he was the kind of a guy who'd put the wolf at your door if he could get one wholesale. On the way up the pier, he stopped and looked out at the bay as if he intended to do away with it before morning. And then he turned and disappeared around the corner. Well, I sat there for a while, and I went over his story. I was sure it wouldn't hold any more water than a grocer holds, but I had no way of checking. Finally, about 7 o'clock, I closed the office, and I went by the address he gave me. It was a modernistic apartment up on Telegraph Hill, one of those places where they let a guy out of the basement long enough to paint murals on the front. This one had a guy waving a blonde wig in front of a tired old monk named Faust. Wendy Morris' apartment was up on the second floor, and when I rang the buzzer, she opened the door with a nice, easy motion, like a cat getting ready to eat its young. I could see right away what Odom was talking about. If you ever build a house, you'd want somebody like her in the blueprint. She leaned against the doorway, and she was wearing a crepe evening gown that was supposed to let you know that nature had given her a square deal. She didn't say anything at first. She just kept fingering her glass and looking at you as if you knew she was full of gin and comfort.
It makes a nice rattle. Are you Mr. Novak?
Yeah, I rattle, too. Invite me in.
I'll bet you do. Come in.
Yeah.
So you all paid to like me. Will a drink help, Mr. Novak?
Yeah.
Sit down. I'll get some soda.
No, this will do.
What did Crockett tell you?
He said you got thirsty.
Did he mention men? Crockett thinks they're related. His sole confession of the medical profession.
He mentioned your husband. Where is he?
I thought that was the problem.
Sounds phony. There must be a way to spot old husbands.
How?
I wouldn't know. Do you think Stanley Morris is dead?
I don't know, Mr. Novak.
Do you care either way?
As long as I'm safe, no. Stanley was no bargain.
Why'd you marry him?
I don't know. I suppose I confused the hangover with love.
Well, he sounds exciting.
About as lively as a dish rag in a steam bath. It doesn't make any difference now, Mr. Novak. I'm frightened. You've got to help me.
You're in for $300, that's all. Where is this gambling joint?
Out on Gary Boulevard. It's called the Mother Lode. The sense of humor belongs to Frankie Fannin.
Is he funny enough to deal with Stanley?
I don't know. Stanley's been out there every night for 2 weeks. Now he's forcing me to go. There must be a reason.
There must be a reason for what?
Don't tempt me, Stanley. This is Mr. Novak, my husband.
I never heard of you, Novak.
You got me worried.
He's a friend of mine.
What does he do, drive a beer truck?
My husband is being subtle, Mr. Novak. He's going with us, Dan.
We don't know anybody well enough to take him with us.
You don't have to feel burdened. I'll take him.
Aren't you wearing out that leash?
Now, look, mister, I'm here on a straight deal. Cash and carry, and your credit's through. From now on, that mouth of yours costs you dough.
Go ahead and pout, Dan. You look better with your lips turned in.
All right, if you like and he goes, I'll have to make another reservation. Hand me the phone, Novak.
Yeah. Here.
Thanks. Let's go, Wendy. Your friend backed out.
I hope they got a good price for my head, because when I started down, shoulder blades were the best I could do for height. I rolled over once, and then I stretched out on the floor as hard as a piece of chewing gum on the theater seat. I don't know how long I chased that woman in the bathing suit. Must have been about an hour when the phone began to ring. I tried to get up once or twice, but I couldn't get the boxcar off my chest, and the phone kept ringing like a piece of crystal in a hailstorm. I finally made a ladder out of my knees and got to the phone. Yeah.
How's your head?
It's a little right. What's on your mind?
Something's gone wrong. I have to meet you.
Not at these prices.
I just got a message from Crockett Odom. I'm leaving now. I want you to meet me in room 314 of the Galbraith Hotel.
Where is it?
Third-rate trap on Powell Street. It's important. Will you come?
Yeah.
And I'm sorry about your hair. I'll have to rub the bruise for you.
Wait till I get there. You can rub one of your own. She was right about that hotel. In a good season, they couldn't have drawn transient mice. I got there about 9:45. I rode up to room 314. There was nobody there. So I sat down and started to wait. The floor was quiet, except down at the end of the hall, somebody was playing a phonograph record. The music was thin but loud, and I knew they were old records, way back when this bird Bix was a man instead of a memory. It stopped after a while, and I looked at my watch. It was after 10, so I left the hotel and I went out to the gambling joint. I toured the room, but I couldn't find Wendy or Stan. I got a guy at the window, and he remembered somebody like Wendy, so I asked about her. He just pointed over at Frankie Fannin's office and went on making change. I crossed over and knocked at the door. The guy that opened it had a face like 3 pounds of warm putty. It was moist and pink, and we got the idea they put the color in with a spray gun. And if his heart was made of the same stuff, they drained the oil out first.
Yeah?
My name's Novak.
Who's arguing?
I want to talk to you.
Yeah?
Where's Wendy Morris?
I don't know.
She was in here tonight.
It's a jail term. I don't follow women home.
Am I supposed to buy that?
Look, Junior, I don't care whether you live or die. I haven't seen her.
How about her husband?
He owes me dough.
What else?
Ask his wife. He's an IOU to me. I don't know what you're doing here, but you better make your point fast.
Now, look, Fannin, if you got a party, I don't want to blow out the candles, but I want some answers.
Yeah?
She got boosted in here tonight. Why?
I brought her in for word games. I told her if her husband didn't square his fill, I'd work him into hamburger.
Yeah?
She offered to bring the buns. Now, that's all the talk you get, mister. Tip the girl on your way out. I need the money. Come in.
Choose up and tell me which one's Novak.
I am. What's on your mind?
And the other guy's Lucky. I'm Craig from Homicide.
Where's Hellman?
He's got a mouth full of canary, Novak.
That's right. I just left room 314 of the Galbraith Hotel.
So did I.
2 of us made it then. The girl didn't.
Novak, he's trying to tell you Wendy Morris is dead.
How do you know she's dead?
It's the only reason cops drool.
You want to see her, Novak?
No. She was better alive.
Come on down anyway. Maybe I didn't try hard enough.
When I walked out of there, I felt like a voice teacher with adenoids. Whoever Craig was, he was smart, and he tagged all the bases because as we moved through the lobby, he motioned to me, and the desk clerk nodded. Well, I didn't worry about that desk clerk because he hadn't said no for years. But when we got to room 314, I needed China passage. There were 3 or 4 of Craig's men grouped along the dim hall like dirty shadows, and inside, Wendy Morris was stretched out looking in the wrong direction. There was a white sheet draped over, and I wondered where the hotel had borrowed that, but Craig wanted to talk.
You must have had a big beef, Novak.
Sorry, we were friends.
I'll bet that was fun.
I was supposed to meet her here. She didn't show.
The desk clerk says she did.
Not while I was here. I was in that gambling joint by 10:30.
The desk clerk says you asked about Wendy Morris. Then you came up here and killed her. That's the way I'm going to book you.
Check on her husband. You can fit him in near the top of the list.
She got one? It's a lot of blonde hair to keep indoors.
Huh?
Good blondes run like salmon.
Wait a minute, Craig. Give me that sheet. Well.
Yeah?
Craig, you better not book me for Wendy Morris.
Huh?
If you do, you'll mix up all the on-duty angels because somebody killed the wrong woman. This isn't Wendy Morris.
You must be wrong. How do you know?
How does anybody know? They look different. They got different personalities. Take your pick, Craig, but somebody got the wrong woman.
Take another look.
I don't need another with Wendy. The first look's for names and faces.
Yeah?
If you take a second look, mister, it's for love. I guess Craig liked to pick his dead because when he found out the woman on the floor was somebody else, he started to shake a little and his mouth hung open like a broken screen door. I didn't blame him much. I tried to think back and piece it together, but it wouldn't work out. It almost made sense, like the broken phrases of an old conversation, but not enough of it came back, and, well, there was still something missing. What happened to Wendy Morris, and how about this girl on the floor? Where did she get her drag with heaven? I looked down at her again. She was pretty, if you like quiet girls. She had a vacant look in her eyes as if the brains had checked out without letting her know. And the color was starting to leave her face. The light was bad, and you had to look close to see her skin. There were little splotches of pink, and the rest was white, like shrimp that haven't been boiled long enough. Craig was worried, and that's something he couldn't hide.
Who is she, Novak?
I don't know, Craig. We didn't meet her soon enough to know. You should have checked.
The hotel register says Wendy Morris.
Who read it for you? Oh, you're tough, Craig. I'll bet you got the wino scared stiff.
Keep on talking. I'll get you some help. Come on in. He wants to make a statement. On the bed, Novak.
Where'd you get your boys, Craig? They look tired.
On the bed, Novak. All right, Joe, take his arm.
Yeah.
The other 2, hold his head back against the bed.
Okay.
Where's Wendy Morris, Novak?
I don't know, copper. You sure you're from Homicide?
So it's against the law. Don't tell anybody. Now make a statement, Novak.
Yeah. Here's a statement about you, Craig.
We'll find out downtown. You can save some teeth. Where's the other girl?
I don't know.
Hold him up. Yeah. Where's Wendy Morris?
Craig, you can go.
Put his head against the bed.
It's for exercise now, Craig.
All right, he's not a season pass. We don't have to hang on to him.
Craig's boys left me hanging on the foot of the bed with somebody's dirty towel and an old garter the maid forgot to pick up last month. I felt my way down to the lobby and into the street, and most of the time, one question kept going through my mind. Craig was going to run me in before. Why had he changed his mind? Well, I found out when I started to turn the corner. Craig had a tail on me, and he was real hard to spot, like a red Nash at the top of the mark. He moved out from under a light near the pool room on the corner, and I watched him in the windows as we walked along. After a while, I quit worrying about him because I knew in a pinch he couldn't follow a conversation with a printed form. Well, I had a lot of ground to cover, so I looked up Jocko Madigan. He's a good guy, and he was a smart one, too. Until he found out if your eyes get red enough, you don't need rose-colored glasses. I finally found him at the cafe house, as tight as a tennis racket in the rain.
God rest ye merry gentlemen, let nothing you dismay.
Jocko, I want to talk to you.
Some belated Christmas carols, Patsy. The piano player quit and everybody else dropped out, so I'm doing it a cappella by myself.
All right, Jocko.
Christmas eluded me, Patsy. I got up through Christmas Eve, and then I seem to have missed Christmas entirely. Did they hold it this year?
Well, it wouldn't happen if you'd get up in the morning.
I refuse to get up early, Patsy. I refuse to get up in the morning until the streets have been aired. The only things that should be around at that hour are peasants and a bunch of random dew.
Jocko, will you listen? I'm in trouble.
I'm not surprised, because you're a counterfeit, Patsy. You're a piece of plate in a room full of sterling. You're like some of the rest of these people running around in a hurry.
Jocko, please.
Just plunging into anything. Look at the papers. Some people have spent years shooting a rocket 110 miles into the air. What's the use?
Will you listen?
What's the use? When you get 110 miles up, all you can do is turn around and come on back down again. We're killing time 110 miles in the air instead of learning to spend it down here.
All right.
Oh, it's depressing, Patsy. Running around in a frenzy like a rooster in a barnyard full of ducks. I'm ready to take to drink.
Are you all through, Jocko?
Yes. Humanity's a tough life. What kind of trouble?
I bought a murder rap for $300.
Well, if it's a bargain, why complain? Who's dead?
I don't know who she is. Homicide found her in a hotel on Powell Street. I tagged by before the murder.
Serves her right. If I were a woman, I wouldn't trust you in the middle of Stanford Stadium with 80,000 people.
It was the wrong woman. It was supposed to be a gal named Wendy Morris, but she didn't show.
Oh, that was shrewd of her.
I was hired by a lawyer named Crockett Odom to watch her.
Why?
She's a dipso.
She must have some faults.
Odom suspects her husband. He was in uniform, and now that he's back, Odom figures he's a fraud out for the girl's money.
Can't the girl tell the difference?
She's not sure.
I don't think she was observant.
Now, look, this is a big story, Jocko. I can't fill in all the holes. You got to help me. I want you to check on Crockett Odom, will you?
I'll need some money.
Oh, you'll booze it away. Now, hurry, Jocko. If you need money, get a job.
Oh, I can't go to work, Patsy. I'm a victim of my own conscience.
Yeah.
I'm stuck with a dilemma. I'm willing to go to work, but I work too cheaply. And on the other hand, I'll not support slave labor. So it's morally impossible for me to go to work. Good night, lover.
It was about 11:30 when I left Jocko, and the two beatings began to catch up with me. I had enough headache to pass out to a Bay Meadows crowd on a bad day. The tail behind me began to look tired, so I dropped by headquarters to give him a rest. I asked for the head of homicide, but the desk told me that Hellman was on his honeymoon, and they kind of laughed when they said it, as if they thought he got the girl there on a bench warrant. All they'd done at headquarters was identify the dead woman. Her name was Emily Van Kirk, and she had no record. I dropped by the hotel, and the first break showed down there. The desk clerk knew about Emily Van Kirk. He'd mixed the rooms up, and he'd put Wendy in the wrong one. That meant that maybe she was at the hotel after all. It also meant that Emily was in the clear. She was just a girl on her way to Seattle, and she got a longer ride than she paid for. I called Wendy's, but I couldn't get an answer, so I dropped by my place to wait for Jocko. Stanley Morris was there, chewing his fingernails. When I walked in, he was up to the wristwatch.
Mr. Novak, where's my wife? You're hiding her.
She's good enough to hide, but this isn't the night.
Oh, where is she? She must have gone to you after that hotel.
How do you know she was there? Did you drop by, too?
Doesn't make any difference.
Well, it makes a big difference to me. We're all out of phones. Now tell me about that hotel.
Crockett Odom told me to come there.
Why?
I don't know. I was supposed to be there at 10:30. It was some kind of a crazy scheme.
Was the dead girl mixed up in one?
Sorry it wasn't Wendy. Odom tried to break up this marriage. I wish he had.
You sound feeble, mister.
You don't know her the way I do. She's a cold-blooded animal. The only cold-blooded animal that doesn't bear fur.
You're building a case.
I don't know what'd have her around. I suppose you would. There's a certain localized beauty you'd go for, but nobody else would have her. They'd find out what she is, a puff adder with a good figure.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Huh?
We got company. Somebody's coming in the door. Watch it. There goes the light.
Stand back.
He couldn't have died any faster with a priority. I got to the door and threw on the light switch, but whoever it was had gone and the hall was dark. When I got back to Stan, he was lying there like a well-trained sponge. He wasn't a good enough guy to bleed in the living room, so I dragged him into the kitchen and left by the back way. I had to get word to Jocko, so I left a message at his place telling him to get in touch with me at Wendy's. I went up there to sit on her doorstep and wait if it took all night. I wasn't going to freeze, though, because she opened the door as soon as I knocked. She was still wearing that crepe gown, and she was yawning and stretching her arms. Oh, you might not want to bring her home to Mother, but you'd want to start anyway.
Do you always look at women this way, Patsy? I feel like Eve.
And I'll bet you got a kitchen full of apples. Do I argue or come in?
You may argue, but do it in here.
Yeah. When'd you get back?
Why?
Somebody just killed Stan.
If you're sure, the drinks are on me.
He didn't like you either.
We'd be even if he had anything to start with. Don't ever marry, Patsy.
Now, look, lady, I'm nursing a murder rap, and I need some answers. Was Stan a phony?
He's the same guy I married, if that's what you mean.
You weren't sure 4 hours ago.
I wanted an answer then.
What kind?
You're too far ahead, Patsy. Come to a trot and have a drink.
Lady, has anybody ever told you about a slow burn? I got one now.
I'll bet you have, darling.
Oh, this room isn't big enough for games, baby.
Give me a Patsy.
Go find a guy with a bag of wild oats.
Stop shadow boxing, Patsy.
All right, baby.
Patsy.
That's what makes the poor so happy. They don't have phones. Yeah.
Patsy, this is Jocko.
What'd you find out?
Crockett Odom is in love with Wendy Morris.
Does it go both ways?
Well, different ways of exchange. I got something else, too.
Yeah?
Her will is a big temptation.
Go ahead.
If she bows out, all the dough goes to her husband. Maybe the guy is a fraud.
Oh, he's going to have it straightened out. What else?
The funny part of the will.
Uh-huh.
If they're both dead, all the dough goes to Crockett Odom. You better see him in a hurry.
Well, that doesn't make sense. If he killed her and got all that dough, it'd cost him that much to get another like her.
Maybe not.
Oh, you haven't seen her, Jocko. He wouldn't pass that up. She's nice and speedy.
Oh, I can explain that. When you're over 50, you don't mind the speed. It's the freewheeling you hate to think about.
When Jocko hung up, I knew we had a good pair of seats. That story of Stan's finally made sense. There was only one reason why he could have been called there at 10:30, and for the first time I tumbled why Craig had let me go back in that hotel room. Everything was right in place like a mixmaster in a bride's kitchen. I dropped by headquarters and left a note, and then the girl and I ran into Craig down at the desk. I briefed him on what had happened, and we rode up to Crockett Odom's apartment. When we got to the living room, things turned stormy.
Hello, Novak. It's too late to start a party.
You're going to like this one, Odom.
That's right, darling. You'll love it. This is Craig from Homicide.
He wants you for murder.
It doesn't sound right, Craig.
Novak's calling it. See him.
I talked to Stan before he died. He tipped your mitt, Crockett.
He couldn't tip a water glass.
He was smart enough to know you sent for him. That's why he didn't show at 10:30.
You better have it in writing.
No, I don't need it that way. I got Craig. He won't let you out that easy.
What's he talking about, Craig?
Homicide will shake him down too fast. You're with the walking dead now, Craig. I left a note. They know you killed the girl.
Are you crazy, Craig, to come up here?
I can't argue now. He's too lucky, Odom.
I got all sevens tonight, Craig. Crockett Odom sold you bad goods. He did everything wrong.
Thanks, Odom. I'm going to leave you, but don't let the bag get too heavy.
Now, wait a minute, Craig. You're not going to let me hang for this.
You won't. They burn in this state.
Stay away from that door, Craig.
Sorry, Odom. You dealt me in, but I got bad cards. I want to see you play 'em alone.
Can you get by this gun?
I'll make a try. Hang on to your skin. Give me a hand, Novak.
Yeah, anything to help you die. Here.
How's Odom?
He'll keep.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Novak. What'd I do wrong?
Everything. But mostly when you let me go up in that hotel room.
Yeah. I should have pinched you then. I'm a tender-hearted guy.
You're a bum, Craig. I can move you down a step lower even. You're a liar. I checked. You're not working for the city. They never heard of you downtown.
I'm not going to make it, Novak. Lay my head down.
Yeah. I'll put it down easy. Goodbye, Craig. I hope you have a long night. Craig made the morning he had to cheat. They patched up Odom and got most of the story out of him. Jocko was right. Odom got tired of chasing the girl and went after the money instead. He drummed up that phony story to plant a reason for a quarrel, and then he tried to pay it off in that hotel room. He offered a cut to Craig for the heavy-duty work. Wendy was supposed to show up at 10:15. Craig would kill her and wait. When Stan showed up at 10:30, Craig was supposed to stage a fight and kill him. That way, he'd be in the clear, and so would Odom. They'd say it was a husband and wife quarrel, and Craig had a phony shield to back him up. Craig dreamed up that story about being a cop. But the whole scheme went haywire when the desk clerk mixed up the rooms. Craig killed the wrong woman, and Stan got there late. That's why he got scared when it turned out to be somebody else, so he let me go. Odom was afraid that Stan had showed up and knew the story, so he had a ticket right away. The guy who tailed me was handy for that. When did I first tumble to something wrong? When I was sure that Crockett Odom had told a lie. He said the girl was a dipso, but when I got there, she was drinking soda with her whiskey. And a good dipso won't waste that much time. Well, it worked out all right. Hellman was on his honeymoon, so he didn't have any questions. I'll bet his wife did.
Broadcasting Company for listeners in the United States and rebroadcast for our men and women overseas. This is the United States Armed Forces Radio Service, the voice of information and education.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. For 2 months, a depraved criminal has been at work in your city. Men and women have been robbed, brutally attacked. Your job, get 'em.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, March 7th. It was cloudy in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. I was on the way home from the office, and it was 2:25 a.m. when I got to Collis Avenue, number 4656.
Joseph? Is that you?
Yeah, Ma. Did I wake you?
Well, what time is it?
A little after 2.
Oh, you can't keep this up. You've got to have your rest.
Don't worry, I'm okay. You got any cold meat in the icebox?
There's some pressed ham, a few slices of bologna. Didn't you have any dinner?
A couple of hamburgers and a piece of pie. I got hungry again.
I had some nice beef stew for dinner. There's some left in the icebox. I'll come down and warm it for you.
No, all I want's a sandwich, Ma. You go on back to sleep.
You can't live on pie and sandwiches and keep up your strength. Working all hours, first thing you know, you'll be getting sick. You need your food and you need your rest. Nobody cares when you're sick.
You didn't have to get up, Ma. All I want's a sandwich. I can fix it.
You better have a bowl full of stew. Here, it'll take a minute to warm it up. Nice new potatoes in it. Some of those onions you like, too. White Bermudas.
Okay, not too much now. I'll get the milk.
It's 2:30 in the morning. What kept you so late again?
Another stakeout. The same job.
Is that the murder in Highland Park?
No, Ma, the badge bandit. The one that poses as a policeman.
Oh, that one. You certainly ought to do something about him.
Yeah, well, we're trying to. We can't find him.
Now, there was a piece in the paper about it tonight. They say it's just terrible the way he beats up people and robs them.
Yeah.
Badge bandit. The way he treats women. Ought to be ashamed. They ought to put him away.
Yeah. You got some more rye bread?
Mm-hmm. Are you going to have tomorrow off, Joseph?
Thanks. No. The captain says we work straight through till we get the guy.
Oh. I thought you were going to have tomorrow off.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you ought to tell the captain. You need your rest. You can't go on like this working all hours. You'll be coming down sick one of these days.
15 robberies, 15 assaults, all in 2 months. Somebody's got to stop them. Stew ready?
Oh, yeah, I think so. Okay. Well, can't they warn the people? They wouldn't be getting robbed and beaten up if they weren't parked in those lonely places. Spooning, so silly.
Yeah. I'm afraid we can't do anything about that, Ma. It's a public place. They got a right to park if they want.
Yeah, I suppose. Let me have your plate.
Okay, here. No, hold it. That's fine.
Another spoonful. You can't work if you don't eat.
Okay. It is good still.
Yeah, sure it is. Butcher down the shop ride's nice. His stewing beef's just wonderful.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Ben worked late with you?
Yeah, his wife's sore, too. He hasn't been home much since we started on this. It's a tough one.
Oh, my. Well, times certainly have changed since I was a girl. All this robbing, beating up. Crazy people.
Yeah. Any mail today?
Now, there's a couple of bills.
Will you set the alarm? I got to check back in at 8 in the morning.
8 o'clock? Why so early?
Badge Bandit got 2 more victims tonight. They're college kids.
Oh.
Doctor said he didn't think we should talk to him tonight, so we'll have to see him tomorrow morning at the hospital.
Were they badly injured?
Well, pretty bad. The boy took a terrible beating. The girl was attacked, same as the others.
My.
Well, it's very good, Ma. I better get to bed.
Yes, well, your face looks so thin. You need all the rest you can get.
I'll get it.
Now, who can that be? It's almost 3 in the morning.
Hello?
This is Lorman down homicide, Joe. Sorry to bother you.
Yeah, Lorman. What is it?
Captain wants you and Romero to meet him in Hollywood and Laurel right away.
What's the matter now?
Attack and hold up in Laurel Canyon 20 minutes ago.
Yeah?
Got the area blocked off. Figure they got the man trapped.
The victims get a look at the guy?
Same description, the Badge Bandit.
I left the house, went over and picked up Ben. We drove out to the edge of the Santa Monica Mountains where Hollywood Boulevard ends and Laurel Canyon begins. We headed back into the canyon to the blockaded area. Captain Steed from Homicide was there waiting for us.
Hi, Skipper.
Yeah, just a minute. Taylor, call communications again. Have them tell the men out on Ventura to start moving in.
Right, Captain.
Sorry to call you back. Couldn't be helped.
Okay. How's it shaking up?
Look, wait a minute.
Search detail in vicinity of Laurel Canyon. Unit 62K reports that they are at Mulholland Drive and Oakstone Avenue. Nothing further to report.
Okay, what did you say, Joe?
So how's it shaping up?
Well, here's a sketch of the area. It covers just about all the Laurel Canyon district.
Yeah?
Badge Bandit got his victims near the top of this hill here.
Mm-hmm.
Old man in the neighborhood heard a woman scream and phoned in.
How sure are we the guy didn't get away?
Well, the man who called in said the bandit had trouble starting his car. Finally left it and took off into the brush. He was headed west down this road here.
Captain, I just had a call from communications. The crew from Leighton Prince are on their way.
All right. Any report from the detail up on Canyon Road?
Nothing yet. I'll stand by the radio.
Okay.
How much area we got to cover?
Well, from the mouth of the canyon here, all the way back to Ventura Boulevard. On the west here, from Lookout Mountain Avenue over to Crestview Drive on the east.
How much have we got to go on?
Crowley talked to the victims for a minute before they took them to Georgia Street.
Yeah?
The guy's description's the same. Heavy set, blonde hair, chubby face, horn-rimmed glasses.
Mm-hmm. Well, if he's on foot, there's plenty of underbrush around here to hide in.
Just a minute, I want to get this call in first. Taylor, have communications contact 72K. Tell them to hold their line stationary.
Yeah.
We'll have the others close in from the west and the north.
Right.
You two better get up on Groveland Drive. Line's pretty thin up there. Olson will use the help.
Is that the area where you abandoned the car?
Yeah. I want you to cover all the houses in that area. Check with everybody you can find in the neighborhood. They may be able to help. If they don't answer, find out why.
Okay.
I'll be making the rounds in another 10 minutes. Check with you then.
All right, let's go.
Oh, one more thing.
Yes, sir?
I'll tell you what I told the rest of the men. This guy's in a corner, and he's got a gun. There's only one way out for him.
Yeah?
Make sure it's not you.
3:45 a.m. Ben and I drove up to Groveland Drive and joined the search. We started our house-to-house canvass of the neighborhood where the suspect had abandoned his car. None of the residents had any further information to give us. 4 a.m. We kept on checking.
23 hours. It's a long shift.
Yeah. I could use some sleep.
Wife of mine is boiling mad. She's even mad at the kid.
Yeah? What's the trouble?
Oh, aunt of hers sent down some flower bulbs from Oregon yesterday, gladiola bulb.
Yeah?
Kid was playing with a little girl next door yesterday, and they found a box of flower bulbs. They put the mess of them in a pot of water and boiled them on the stove.
What'd they do that for?
Who knows?
There's another house up ahead. We better check it.
Yeah.
We ought to get some street lights up here.
Yeah. That's nice work, waking people up in the middle of the night.
Oh, I don't like it any more than they do.
Wish we could make them believe that. Nice neighborhood up here. I wonder what the price is on these lots.
Well, it shouldn't be too high. They say real estate's coming down.
Yeah, what is it?
Police officers. Sorry to disturb you. We'd like to talk to you a minute.
Oh, all right. Let me get the door open. What's been going on in the neighborhood tonight? Some kind of trouble? Cars racing up and down the hill? What's the trouble?
Have you noticed any strangers in the neighborhood last hour?
No, I just got to bed 20 minutes ago. I work out at Paramount. We're shooting nights. What's all the commotion anyway?
We're looking for a suspect. He's supposed to be around this area.
Well, I haven't seen anybody. I thought I heard somebody out by the garage a few minutes ago. Went out and looked around, but I didn't see anything.
Did you check to see if your car is still in the garage?
No, I left it in the driveway.
No, sir, there's no car in your driveway.
Sure there is. Let me show you. Hey, it's gone.
Can we use your phone?
Yeah. Yeah, but I saw it just a few minutes ago. The car was right there in the driveway. You think that guy took my car?
Yes, sir, it's a pretty good bet. You got your license number handy there?
I don't remember it. I got it on a card in my wallet.
Give me communication.
Can you give us a description of your car?
It's a Plymouth sedan, black, two-door sedan. With...
Search detail, Laurel Canyon. I've got some new information for all units in the detail.
Here's the license number.
Oh, thanks. Will you broadcast this information to all units in the search detail?
What was the make and model of your car?
46 black Plymouth, a two-door sedan.
1946 black Plymouth, two-door sedan, license number, let me see. 7 X-ray 2569. This car's just been stolen from 10211 Groveland Drive.
Any identifying marks on the car?
Well, I left my keys in it.
No, sir. I mean, any special markings on the car? Maybe a dent in one of the fenders?
Well,
yeah, George, hold on, we're getting it.
The right headlight went out on me last night. I haven't had it fixed yet.
The right headlight on the car is out. Notify all units in the search detail that we believe suspect is now in possession of this car. Right, thank you.
Let's go.
Must have happened in the last 15 minutes. I heard that noise and I went out to check. The car was there then.
Well, here's our card. We'll be checking with you later.
Yeah, I sure hope you find it. I don't know how I can get to work tomorrow without my car.
Yeah, we'll notify you.
Yeah, gee, I sure hope you find it.
Thanks for your help. Come on, Ben.
Repeat, 7 X-ray 2569. Car has just been stolen from 10211 Groveland Drive. The right headlight is out.
Oh, we got it.
Believed suspect is now in possession of this car. KMA 367.
I don't think he could have gotten that car through the blockade yet, you. Better start searching the side roads, huh?
Yeah. There's one. Leading off to the left, up ahead.
Here, let's try it. Wait a minute. There's a car coming down the hill toward us.
Joe is making time. Joe, only one headlight on the car.
It's coming right at us. Turn around, quick. There's no room. Get over to the inside.
I can't. It's too late.
Then turn.
I'm over. We're going over.
Attention all units. Special attention all units in search detail vicinity of Laurel Canyon. 80K reports theft of a 1946
You all right?
Plymouth two-door sedan.
Ben.
In the 5 column.
An ambulance was called, and Ben and I were taken to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. There I received emergency treatment for multiple cuts and bruises and a sprained left shoulder. Ben didn't do so well. He had a possible concussion, 2 broken ribs, and a half a dozen severe cuts about the face and arms. We were then taken to the P&F ward. The next afternoon, we had a visit from Captain Steed and Chief Detective Thad Brown.
Friday, how you feeling?
Pretty good, Chief.
You saw Romero across the hall. You came out better than he did.
Yeah, that's what I hear. You resting any?
Oh, much better. No danger involved. Needs rest, that's about all.
How long?
Well, he'll be here 2 weeks, according to the doctor. What about you?
A couple of days.
Too bad, Joe.
Badge bandit?
Yeah. Looks like you two got banged up for nothing.
Oh?
After he rammed your car, he ditched the black Plymouth, and then we figure he hit with the underbrush.
Yeah?
Somehow, while we were hauling you and Ben out of that wreck, he slipped through the line.
Any fingerprints on the car?
None we could use.
It's rotten luck. I guess it was his night, huh?
We're getting more men from Metro Division to help out.
Mm-hmm.
And we're doubling the number of decoys around the city.
Policewomen, huh?
And we'll have each of them planted in a parked car along with an officer in every area the badge bandit's been working. All he has to do is grab at the bait once.
Yeah, if he goes for it.
He'll have plenty of time to choose. We work the same setup every night till we reach him.
It's a big operation. Might have to run it for weeks unless he quits.
Well, there's only one way a guy like that ever quits.
Yeah.
When we stop him.
Saturday, March 10th, 2 p.m. I was released from the P&F ward and went home. Ben stayed on at the hospital. He had at least another 10 days to go before release. Sunday, I spent at home. Monday afternoon, I checked back in at the office, and Captain Steed put me on decoy duty for that week, along with policewoman Dorothy River. We were assigned to cover an isolated parking area near Mulholland Drive and Beverly Glen. It was a nice view, but the duty was slow. No sign of the badge bandit. Policewoman River and I waited it out from late evening to early morning, from Monday through Thursday. Friday night came. Same thing. We waited.
How's Ben? You see him today?
Yeah, he's doing fine. Be out next week.
Grouchy, I guess.
Oh, sure.
You want a cigarette?
Thank you.
You can sure tell it's Friday night.
Yeah.
In fact, college kids are out in force.
Mm-hmm. What time you got?
1:45. Long nights.
Yeah. Slow.
You cold?
No, are you?
Just a little. It's chilly up here in the early morning. What's that?
Car full of kids just pulling out.
Are the cars gone too?
Yeah. We're the only ones left.
Stakeout's getting your nerves.
So, look, if you're cold, you can have my coat. It doesn't bother me.
No, it's all right, Joe. Thanks. It's a beautiful view from up here, isn't it? All the lights.
Yeah.
You like to dance, Joe?
What?
I said you like to dance.
Oh, once in a while, I guess. I'm not too good. Why?
Well, our club's having its big annual dance 2 weeks from Saturday.
Yeah?
Might get a kick out of it. It's formal.
Well, it leaves me out. I don't own a tux.
You could rent one. It'd be fun.
No, I'm afraid I don't look good in a tux.
I never met a man who thought he did. Why don't you try it?
I might be working.
Well, I mean, if you're not working, why don't you come?
You going?
Well, I was planning on it.
Got a date?
No, not yet. I have hopes.
There's a car pulling in. Let's see. Yeah, parked over in back of us.
I can only make out one person in the car.
Yeah, looks like a man. I can't be sure. All right, come on over closer. We might as well look the part, huh?
All right.
It's getting out of the car.
Is he coming this way?
Walking over to the side of the road. It's got a flashlight. Looking around.
He's built like the Badge Bandit. Short, heavy set.
Yeah, he's turning around. He's got his flashlight on us.
He's coming up on your side of the car.
All right, take it easy. You know what to do.
Come on, out of that car. Police officer.
All right, hold on.
Got a gun, Joe.
Yeah.
Come on, I said out of the car, both of you.
All right. All right, drop the gun. Drop it.
That's him.
Yeah.
Now I'll get the cuffs on him.
Thanks. I didn't think I hit him that hard.
You didn't, I did.
Policewoman Dorothy River and I took the suspect to Hollywood Division, where he was booked on suspicion of robbery. He gave his name as Charles Leon Kirby, age 46. Monday, March 19th, Ben was released from the hospital and checked back in for work. A special show-up was held at which 10 of the 17 victims definitely identified Kirby as the Badge Bandit. The suspect had finally been apprehended. Now we started the slow process of formally charging the man and presenting our evidence against him to bring him to trial. 10 a.m., Ben and I went across the street to the 6th floor of the Hall of Justice to present our case against Kirby and to obtain a formal complaint against him. We met with Deputy District Attorney Broker.
When did you get out of the hospital, Ben?
This morning. Sure got sick of that place.
Heard about your accident. That guy sure gave you enough trouble, didn't
he? Yeah, he's still giving us trouble.
How's that?
He got in a tangle with another prisoner out in the Hollywood Division.
Yeah?
The other prisoner gave Kirby a pretty bad going over. Cut him up and broke his left forearm. They're moving him in an ambulance from Hollywood to the prison ward at the General Hospital.
When did this happen?
This morning. I think they're moving him downtown now.
Tough one. Now, how about your reports on Kirby? Are they all in order?
Well, here's a summary report. Alleges 10 positive identifications containing 10 counts for robbery and 10 counts of forcible rape.
All right.
And here are 7 other crime reports. Only partial identification on these.
Okay. What have you got for corroborating evidence against him?
Oh, we went through Kirby's apartment. Found at least a dozen pieces of property that he took from his victims. Mostly watches and jewelry. The victims identified every piece we found.
Okay, let me get the details down here. No. Excuse me a minute.
Sure.
Broker speaking. Yes, a minute. You, Friday.
Thank you. Friday. When? Yeah, right away. Well, that does it.
What's the matter?
Kirby. He just broke out of that ambulance.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of Mr. Richard Watts, Jr., drama critic of one of New York's great newspapers. This is his actual signed statement.
My working day starts when most people are going to bed.
When the curtain closes on the last act, I've got a newspaper deadline to make. Working more means smoking more. And that's when Fatima quality really tells. I agree. It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
And so do more and more smokers every day. Actual figures show extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
The king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
The best of all long cigarettes.
As soon as word of Kirby's escape came through, the information was broadcast to all points. All available cruiser cars and men were rushed to the escape area, and a door-to-door canvass got underway. All of the men were given mug shots of Kirby together with his description. 11 a.m., Ben and I got back to the office. We found a message from Captain Steed to meet him in the chief of detective's office.
No man in that area until further notice. Check the bus depots and the Union Station. Right.
What's the story, Chief?
That's what I'm trying to find out.
Where do you make the break?
Near 4th and Main. Couldn't have picked a better spot.
The ambulance had just crossed 3rd and Main when Kirby slugged the guard. The driver was too busy dodging traffic to notice what was going on in back.
That's a lousy break.
Kirby jumped out of the back end of the ambulance and disappeared in the crowd. No sign of him since.
Well, that's fine. Takes us almost 3 months to reach the guy, and he breaks away on a cheap fluke like that.
Well, he doesn't have many friends in town. He's only got one we know of.
Yeah.
A brother. Kirby stays with him pretty often from what we could gather. His brother lives in a rooming house down on Alameda.
Anybody checked that yet?
We've got it staked out.
The brother works at a box factory in the south end of town. That's covered, too.
He's not going far with a broken arm.
What have you got?
Pawn shop holdup, 6th Street. Happened a few minutes ago.
Yeah?
Here's the description of the holdup, man.
Stocky build, blonde hair, horn-rimmed glasses, chubby face.
You were wrong about that broken arm. Come on. 11:20 a.m. Ben and I pulled up at the East Asia pawn shop on 6th Street. Inside, we found the proprietor, Morris Brubaker, lying propped up against one of the showcases. He was an elderly man. His face and head showed the marks of a savage beating. His wounds were hemorrhaging badly, and ambulance attendants were giving him first aid. We showed him Charles Kirby's mugshot.
That's the man. I wouldn't make a mistake. That's him.
Was he alone, Mr. Brubaker?
Yes, by himself. He has to look at a watch, and when I turned to get it, he kicked me. I fell against the showcase and cut myself. He pulled me in the back room. I didn't even know him. He kept beating me.
Easy, Mr. Brubaker. Let me get this compass on.
How much did he get away with, do you know?
I'm not sure. Blue suit, blue overcoat, wraparound, and navy blue both. He kept hitting me.
All right, so just take it easy. They'll have you out of here in a minute.
He kept hitting me like a crazy man.
This is antiseptic. Might sting a little. Okay.
What else did he take, Mr. Brubaker? Can you remember?
Yes, from the cash register, he took money.
How much?
$13, $14, I can't be sure.
When he left your store, did you see which way he was going?
No, he dragged me in the back room. He locked me in.
Ready to move now, Sergeant?
Okay.
I don't know. I saw him going through the shelves there in the back of the counter. I don't know.
What'd you keep there?
My account books and my gun, a box of shells, too.
You want to take a look, Ben?
Well,
my head.
Yes, sir. Just take it easy. It's only going to be a minute now.
the account books are still there.
Yeah?
He got the gun.
4 p.m. Kirby, alias the Badge Bandit, was still at large. As far as we were concerned, the case was almost back to where it started from 11 weeks before. The suspect was still loose. He was well armed. He was still free to rob, assault, or murder. We had two big advantages. Kirby's possible broken arm, which would need medical attention, and secondly, the lead to Kirby's brother. At 5:30 p.m., we had a report that the suspect was seen purchasing a ticket at a theater box office out on Hollywood Boulevard. We ran it down. It didn't pay off. At 6:15, a taxi driver thought he spotted Kirby boarding an outbound streetcar at Figueroa and Pico. It was checked out. No results. At 7 o'clock, Ben and I got something to eat at a drive-in, and we relieved the men on stakeout at the rooming house on Alameda Street where Kirby's brother was staying. 10 p.m. Midnight. No sign of Kirby. We waited. At 3 a.m., Hanson and Cummings of Homicide relieved us, and Ben drove me home. It was 3:45 when he dropped me off at Collis Avenue, number 4656.
Yeah, Ma, I didn't mean to wake you.
Well, what time is it?
Almost 4.
Oh, my. These late hours, you've got to get your rest, Joseph.
We'll be all right, Ma. Got something to eat in the icebox?
There's a little cold meat and some cheese in the cupboard.
Just want a sandwich. You going back to sleep.
I had some nice meatballs and spaghetti for dinner. I can warm some for you. My, high sandwiches working all hours. You just get sick, Joseph, and you'll see nobody cares about you when you're sick.
I wish you wouldn't get up, Ma. I can fix something.
Well, warm up the meatballs and spaghetti. You need something substantial.
I get it.
4 a.m. I hope it's not that awful calling.
Hello?
Lorman down homicide.
Yeah, Lorman.
Thought you'd like to know they just got Kirby.
Where?
At his brother's place about 15 minutes ago. Hanson and Cummings grabbed him.
Any trouble?
No, grabbed him before he got to his gun. We just locked him up. Thought you'd like to know.
Yeah. Thanks, Lorman.
Night.
Night.
Well, that wasn't Joseph.
The office, Ma. They got Kirby, the badge bandit.
Oh, did they? Well, that's nice. Maybe you'll have some time off now.
Yeah. Never fails, does it? You work on a case for 3 months. Leave it for 30 minutes and it's all over.
Well, the food's warm. Is there anything else you want?
No, that's fine, Ma. You go on to bed.
Yeah. Well, all right, Joseph. Now, don't stay up too long.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Hey, Ma.
Yes, Joseph?
Have I still got that old tuxedo around?
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On June 27th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 87, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to extra mild Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, Extra Mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the king-size cigarette that is extra mild.
Extra mild because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give it a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. The best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Charles Leon Kirby, alias the Badge Bandit, was tried and convicted in Superior Court on several counts of armed robbery, rape, and assault with intent to commit murder. He was sentenced to life imprisonment. After serving 1 year in the state penitentiary, he was judged insane and committed to the state mental hospital at Mendocino. After 2 months there, he escaped. Charles Kirby, alias the Badge Bandit, is still at large. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Wharton.
This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to Juvenile Bureau. A potential killer roams the halls of one of the high schools in your city. Girl students have been brutally slashed by the criminal. Your job, stop him.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Thursday, November 4th. It was windy in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of Georgia Street Juvenile Bureau. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Bowling, Commander, Juvenile Division. My name's Friday. It was 2:45 p.m. when we got to Charter High School. Main entrance.
Which way, Joe?
I don't know. We can ask this boy. Hey, son.
Yeah?
Where's the principal's office?
Straight down the hall. Last door on the left.
Thank you.
What's all the noise about?
Football rally. We're playing Piedmont today. Probably lose.
Can't beat confidence like that. Kids are sure funny nowadays.
Yeah. Check that sign.
Mm-hmm. Junior prom. $1.25 per couple.
Makes you feel old, doesn't it?
I never did go to those high school dances.
How come?
Couldn't dance. Wife says I still can.
Yes, sir?
Like to see Mr. Chase?
Could I have your names, please?
Romero and Friday.
Oh, yes, he's expecting you. You can go right in. That door.
Thank you, miss.
Mr. Chase?
Yes?
My name's Friday. I talked to you on the phone.
Oh, yes, certainly, Sergeant. Have a chair.
Thank you. This is my partner, Ben Romero.
How do you do, sir?
How are you, Mr. Chase?
Sit down. Certainly glad to see you, gentlemen. I'm at the end of my rope.
Would you mind briefing us, Mr. Chase? How did all this trouble start?
I don't know how it started. I don't know why. But here's the result, Sergeant. This dress, bloodstains on it.
Mm-hmm. What's the story?
A woman stormed in here and said her daughter came home from school yesterday wearing this dress. She told her mother she'd been knifed here at the school.
Mm-hmm. How many cases like this have you had?
21 in the past 3 weeks.
Why didn't you notify us?
Believe me, Sergeant, I didn't know which way to turn. When I first learned about these knifings, I wanted to call in the police, but some of the girls who'd been cut, the parents didn't want it reported. The publicity, the notoriety, they didn't want it.
Hope you realize, Mr. Chase, that it's a pretty serious business.
Believe me, I did realize. What could I do? The knifings had to be stopped. The parents didn't want them reported. I've tried everything humanly possible to find out who's responsible.
What have you tried, Mr. Chase?
Well, I called on some of the older students from the Boys' Council. I placed them all over the grounds of the buildings and told them to keep an eye out.
No results, huh?
The knifings have gone right on. This past week, they've even gotten worse. Oh, that reminds me. Just a moment, please.
Yes, Mr. Chase?
Doris, would you get Jim Travers, please? Have him come to my office right away.
Yes, Mr. Chase.
Travers is head of the Boys' Council. He helped organize the system of guards. He might be able to give you some information.
You said a minute ago that the situation has been worse this past week. You mean the knifings have gotten more frequent?
More frequent and more serious. One girl was cut very badly this morning. She had to be sent home.
Are most of these girls cut in pretty much the same manner?
The school nurse treated some of them. She says it looked to her as though the girls had been slashed with a very sharp knife, probably a razor.
Is there any definite time pattern to these knifings?
All of them happened between periods, when the students changed classes. The corridors are pretty well crowded, and that's why it's so difficult to pin it down to any one person.
I see. How about the victims themselves, Mr. Chase? Is there any set pattern there?
That's what has me frightened.
How do you mean?
Most of the victims are rather pretty girls. Whoever's doing this seems to have a preference for them. It's frightening when you think of what kind of mind the person must have.
It's a little more than frightening, Mr. Chase.
Huh?
The person with a knife must be a mental case, probably a dangerous one. I don't think he's going to be satisfied with just knifing the girls.
Killing?
Possible if we let it go much longer.
You wanted to see me, Mr. Chase?
Come in, Jim.
I would have come sooner. I was tied up with a rally committee.
Jim, this is Sergeant Friday and Sergeant Romero, police officers.
Right, Jim.
They're here to investigate the knifings. I thought maybe you'd be able to help out with some information.
Well, I still have the fellows on the council watching the corridors. We haven't seen anything yet.
Will you have any time after the rally, Jim? We'd like to have you show us around.
Okay, Sergeant.
Is the school nurse still in her office? I'd like to talk to her, too.
I think so. Jim, when does Miss Wesley go home?
3:30 on Thursday, Mr. Chase. I'll tell her to stay on a few minutes.
That's fine. We'll meet you outside the office here, huh?
Okay, I'll see you later then.
Right.
The school out for the day?
Yes, it is.
Guess we'll have to wait till morning to interview the victims.
The first class is at 8 o'clock. I'll have the girls assemble in the classroom next to my office.
All right, Mr. Chase. Thank you.
I'll be right back, Doris. See you gentlemen out.
Looks like the rally's just breaking up, huh?
3 o'clock now. The game's at 3:30.
The kids certainly jam up the corridor.
Come on, come on.
Let us through here. Let us through, please.
All right. The rest of you go about your business. Go on now.
What's the matter, young lady? What's the trouble?
Patty Larson, she's fainted.
What's the matter with her?
Look at her dress. It's covered with blood.
An ambulance was called, and the injured girl was taken to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital, where she was treated for a cut on her right forearm and a deep slash across her hips. She was not in serious condition. It was the doctor's opinion that the wounds had been inflicted either by a very sharp knife or more probably a razor. A detail of plainclothesmen were dispatched to Charter High School to keep the grounds and quarters under strict surveillance until further notice. At 7:30 the next morning, policewoman Lorraine Jensen, Ben, and I met at the high school with Principal Chase and Jim Travers, the head of the boys' council. By 9 a.m., all of the 21 knifing victims were assembled in one of the empty classrooms. Policewoman Jensen outlined our plan of questioning.
May I have your attention, please? This isn't going to take very long, girls, but I will have to ask you to cooperate with us. Try to remember every detail of the time and the place that the knifings occurred. Do you all have a report form to write out?
Yeah, they're all set.
We'd like to have you write 3 things. First, exactly where you were when you were injured. After that, write the date and the time. Make that just as close as you can remember.
I don't remember, dear. You're not going to know what to write.
At the bottom of the page, write the name of the person you suspect might have cut you. Your answer will be kept confidential. Please don't compare notes with the girl next to you. We want your version, not your neighbor's.
Sergeant.
Yes, Trevor?
5-minute warning bell.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah, Joe.
There's a recess coming up. We want to check the quarters. Can you make out alone for a little while?
Sure, you two go ahead. You can check the slips when you get back.
Right, let's go, Ben.
Yeah.
The top of the stairs is best, Sergeant.
Okay.
If you stand back a little from the railing, no one down below can tell if they're being watched either.
Okay.
I'm pretty much interested in police work. You know, the lie detector and stuff.
Uh-huh. Will you keep on going here?
One more flight.
All right.
I wrote a paper once on the lie detector for our physiology class. The teacher liked it.
That's so?
Yeah. I've been reading how they take fingerprints, cloth imprints, and all that. Pretty interesting. Here we are. We can keep an eye on the whole corridor from here.
Okay.
What detail do you officers work out of?
Georgia Street Juvenile.
You know Lee Jones or Ray Pinker?
Oh, yeah.
I've read a lot about the crime lab.
Why don't you come downtown some afternoon? We'll show you around.
That'd be swell.
Okay.
Must be interesting, meeting all kinds of people, watching how they behave, you know.
Yeah, it's interesting. During a recess, while the students moved from classroom to classroom, we kept the main quarter under close surveillance. The other men from Juvenile Bureau covered the rest of the quarters. We kept an eye on the main quarter during the third recess between periods at 11 a.m. Again, no results. At 11:30, Travers went to check with the members of the boys' council to set up the noontime watch. Ben and I went back to the classroom on the main floor to check with policewoman Jensen. We helped her tally the results of the questioning of the girl victims that morning.
Let's see, 17, 18, 19. Well, that takes care of the lot.
Let's see.
There it is. Now what's it mean?
Well, 12 say they were knifed on the main corridor, 3 knifed outside the building, 4 on the stairway, 2 in a classroom.
The times they list. Doesn't look like there's any pattern there.
How about the suspects that they wrote down?
That's even got me beat. We've got more of them than we have victims. Here. There's 4 pages of names. Some of the girls wrote down as many as 5 suspects.
That's going to help a lot.
How many altogether?
Let's see. 34.
Oh, hi, Mr. J.
Did you find out anything?
Well, it didn't turn out too well. Nothing definite.
Terrible morning. Parents calling up newspapers. I don't know. Certainly out of my hands.
Are there any assemblies scheduled for this afternoon?
Yes, after the 5th period. Why?
Well, I think maybe you better cancel it. Seems like every time the kids are crowded together, we just ask for trouble.
All right, I'll have it canceled.
Fine. Something else, Mr. Case.
Yes?
The girls that we had in this room this morning, the victims, we'd like to have every one of them brought back here after the next class, can we?
All right, Sergeant. I'll have excuse slips sent to each one.
Thank you, sir.
Gives you the chills. Those kids getting cut up in broad daylight.
Whoever it is, the guy's got a stomach for it.
How do you know it's a guy?
It's as good a guess as any. How about the school employees, the janitors, and the rest of them?
Checked them all out this morning.
When we get the girls back here, we'll go through the same routine. One thing we missed the last time we talked to them.
Yeah?
We asked them to pick suspects. We might have more luck if we have a bigger choice.
Well, how do you mean?
Well, instead of asking them to pick out somebody, we'll tell them to list the names of every person who was around them or near them when they were cut.
It might work if we can spot a couple of repeats on the list.
Sergeant, they want you downstairs. Hurry.
Come on, Ben.
What's the matter?
It's terrible, terrible. I found her.
You found who?
Betty Price.
Where?
Downstairs, unconscious. I'm afraid.
What do you mean you're afraid?
I'm not sure she's alive.
We located the unconscious girl in a corner of the basement near the rear entrance to the girls' locker room. She'd been cut severely about the face and arms. At Georgia Street Receiving Hospital, she was given an immediate blood transfusion. In addition to her wounds, she was also treated for shock. We questioned the victim. She stated that she did not see the person who attacked her. Later that afternoon, she was removed to her own home upon the advice of her family physician. 1:35 p.m. Ben and I got back to the high school and checked in with policewoman Lorraine Jensen.
How'd the last station turn out, Lorraine?
A lot better. It was a good idea, Joe.
Yeah? How'd we come out?
Pretty good. Yeah, the list they made out. 21 of them.
Uh-huh.
Each girl listed an average of 8 persons around her at the time she was knifed.
Yeah?
There's one name that occurs on 19 of these 21 lists. Here, Joe.
Jim Travers.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation, presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of Mr. Frank Fenton, well-known author and Hollywood screenwriter. This is his actual signed statement.
When a writer gets absorbed in his work, he loses track of time, smokes more than usual. And this happens often to me. As a result, I appreciate a mild cigarette. Fatima is extra mild. I agree it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
And so do more and more smokers every day. Actual figures show extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
The king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
The best of all long cigarettes.
Friday, November 5th, 1:45 p.m. Ben and I started checking on Jim Travers. In the registrar's files, he was listed as James Kirkland Travers, 17 years old. He was a well-known, popular student. He was a fine athlete. He was from a well-to-do family. His father was the head of an engineering firm. His mother was from one of the oldest families in the city. During his 3.5 years at Charter High, Jim Travers had maintained close to an A average in his studies. He'd been president of his class since freshman year, and he'd held numerous other class offices. We interviewed his teachers. They had nothing but praise for Travers. They tabbed him as a brilliant young man with an excellent future. We asked about Travers' friends, who he palled around with. We picked up a small lead. We were told that he had very few, if any, close personal friends among the students, but he did have one girl at the high school he was especially fond of. Her name was Barbara Ferris, a tall, dark-haired girl, exceptionally pretty. Her scholastic record was almost as high as Travers. 2 p.m. Policewoman Lorraine Jensen and I interviewed the girl in a small room off the principal's office.
We're not singling you out, Barbara. We're interviewing most of the girls in the upper classes.
You mean about what's been happening around school?
Yes, that's right.
Well, I don't know much about it. I was talking to Jim Travis last night. He's a friend of mine. He told me while you were here.
How long have you known Jim Travis, Barbara?
Oh, since freshman year, I guess.
Mm-hmm. You go steady with him?
Well, we don't like to call it that, but I guess so. We go to the dances together. Sometimes we go to the show on weekends.
Do you go out with him very often?
No, not very often. Jim's usually pretty busy. He studies a lot.
Does he go out with other girls, do you know?
Well, no, I don't. Once he went out with Betty Fisher. He said he didn't like her much. Betty's kind of a party girl. Jim likes to talk about things. You know, physiology, books, stuff like that.
Do you get along with him pretty well?
We get along fine. Sometimes he's moody, but I guess I am, too.
Could you tell us a little more about Jim? What's he like?
Well, what do you want to know that for? Is there anything wrong?
No, it's just routine questioning, Barbara. We have to check on everybody.
Oh, I see. Well, Jim's certainly all right. He's like the rest of the fellows at school, I guess. Only he's smarter than most of them.
Well, is there anything maybe that's odd about him that you noticed? Anything very different?
No, not that I've noticed. He's always been pretty bashful, up until this last year anyway. He's still that way sometimes when we go out on dates.
Well, how do you mean? How is he bashful?
You know, about girls and things. He's always nice, though. He's not always thinking about necking and stuff like most of them.
You mean he's not the romantic type?
Well, he can be romantic when he wants to. Once we parked outside my house after a dance. He's always nice. It was just this one time.
What was that?
Well, he kissed me, and then he twisted my arm behind my back. He kept twisting it for no reason.
Yeah?
I told him it hurt me, but he wouldn't let go. He kept twisting my arm.
What did he say?
That's what was so funny. He said, I like you better than any girl I know.
Yeah?
Then he said, that's why I'm hurting you.
After talking with Barbara Ferris, we had a pretty good idea that Jim Travers was the suspect we wanted. But because of his fine background and his record, we realized that we'd have to prove beyond any question of a doubt that he was the guilty person. We had only one thing to go on besides the information Barbara Ferris had given us. During the morning recesses, when Travers was with Ben and I was watching the corridors, not one knifing took place. When we had left Travers and gone downstairs to check with policewoman Jensen, a girl had been found slugged and cut at the rear of the girls' locker room. 2:30 p.m., Ben and I met with the suspect.
How's it going, Sergeant? Any luck?
Not much, Jim. What's that, another rally?
No, a band practice.
The junior prom's tonight, isn't it?
Yeah. You talked to the girl who was knifed downstairs, huh? Find out anything?
No, not much. You want to stick with us this afternoon? I think you might be able to help us out.
Sure. I've got the fellows on the council standing by if you want them.
Fine. Let's go outside, huh? Got something to tell you.
Sure, okay. We can go out this way. I certainly appreciate your letting me tag along. Hope I can help you.
I think you can, Jim. So when we talked to those girls this morning, we drew up a new list of possible suspects.
Yeah?
Funny thing, one of the names on the list was yours.
Well, I've got nothing to hide.
Well, we'll make a systematic check of each name on the list and start with yours.
Well, will we have to go on the lie detector? I'd like to try that. I never saw one. Only pictures of it.
No, you won't have to go through that. It'll just be a couple of questions, and then we're going to check your locker.
Okay, I'd be glad to show you.
Does this take us to the locker room?
Yeah, we can cut through here.
Say, when we were questioning those girls this morning, some of them said that they saw you in different parts of the building when the knifings took place.
What do you mean?
Well, your location didn't exactly jibe with your classroom schedule. In other words, your class was on the third floor, but you were seen down in the main corridor. Now, how do you account for that?
Well, you see, I usually take walks between periods. Sitting in classrooms makes me nervous sometimes, you know.
Uh-huh.
Here, I'll get the door. Any other questions I can answer, Sergeant?
No, that's all.
How did you happen to get interested in police work, Jim? You said your father was an engineer, didn't you?
Yeah, that's right. I don't know how I got into it. I just took to it, I guess. I always like to watch people's reactions and their behavior. Fascinating. The locker room's down this way.
Okay. What are you planning on doing when you graduate? College?
Yeah, I guess so. Dad wants to send me to MIT.
It's a good school.
Yeah. Say, if you ever have the time, I'd sure like to see some of the ballistics equipment down at the police crime lab. I've read up on ballistics quite a bit, too.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah. The polygraph lie detector. That's my favorite, though. Wonderful machine.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine charting positive and negative reactions like that. It's marvelous.
Yeah, it is.
Say, have either one of you ever read Dawson's treatise? I think it's called The Psychology of the Criminal Mind. You ever read it?
I think we had that in training, didn't we, Ben?
Something like that, yeah.
How about Criminal Behavior and Its Basis, Maxwell's book? Did you ever read that one?
No, I don't think I did.
It's a great book. I got quite a few textbooks on crime. The one on sex crimes I just got very good.
Mm-hmm. This locker room?
Yeah, I almost went past it. My lock is down this way.
How do you shave, Jim? You use an electric razor or a safety razor?
Me? Electric razor. They're the best.
Yeah, they're a lot easier to use.
Here it is. I'll open it for you.
All right. Ben, you got those envelopes?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there.
Okay, would you step aside there, Jim?
Yeah, sure.
All right, we'll get some dust scrapings from the shelf here. All right, there you are, Ben. You want to mark it?
Jim Travers, dust scraping from locker.
All right. Let's see here. Here's some more scrapings from the bottom of the locker this time. Huh?
Okay, I'll seal these envelopes. Oh, here's a nail file.
Okay, Jim. Now, will you hold out your right hand?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Hold an envelope under his hand, will you, Ben? Catch the nail scrapings.
Okay, well.
Say, what's all this for, Sergeant?
Oh, it's just routine with everybody, Jim. Just gonna take some sample specimens to run through the spectrograph.
Spectrograph?
Mm-hmm. Now, let me scrape that middle fingernail a little.
Oh, okay.
That's it. Now the index finger.
What about the spectrograph?
We use it all the time.
Well, it won't work in a case like this, will it?
All right, that's all for the right hand, Ben. Don't forget to mark the envelope.
Yep. Some Jim Travers scrapings from fingernails of right hand. There we go.
All right, now the left hand, Jim.
Yeah.
No, we don't know if this is going to work or not. It's worth a try. We'll know this afternoon.
This afternoon?
Yeah. We'll have to run you through on the machine. Hold the envelope a little closer there.
Yeah. Oh, how's it going to help you?
It might tell us what you had for breakfast a week ago. It might tell us what kind of clothes you wore 3 days ago. The kind of objects you came in contact with.
Oh. Well, what kind of principle does it operate on?
Oh, I don't know. We can ask Lee Jones. Here, let me get the scrapings from your thumb. All right, there it is. Now seal it and mark it, Ben.
All right.
You want to call the office and tell them we're on our way in?
Yeah, I'll be in that room right next to the principal's office.
Okay. You can close your locker, Jim. That's all.
Yeah, all right.
We'll check the things in your pockets when we get to the crime lab. Let's go.
That spectrograph must be a marvelous machine.
Well, it's worked for us a lot of times. We've got evidence on a suspect that either convicts him or clears him. You'll probably get a kick out of it.
I'd like to see it. You say it tells you everything a person's come in contact with, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
Could it tell you how I shave?
Well, how do you mean?
I mean, with an electric razor or safety razor.
Oh, yeah, sure. That's one of the primary things. I don't know exactly how it works, but it does the job. We'll get Lee Jones to explain it to us.
Out this door. We can cut across the courtyard.
Oh, those are sure nice grounds.
Will they keep me long downtown, Sergeant?
What do you think, Jim? You know, the strange part about these knifings out here.
What's that?
Whoever's responsible probably doesn't even realize what he's doing.
Yeah.
Mentally, he's sick. He's very sick. Best thing for him would be a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Just like any other sickness, it's not going to get better by itself.
Yeah.
The only trouble is he's just getting his appetite up with these knifings. Now, if he goes much longer...
how about that spectrograph, Sergeant? Say, for instance, well, if I happen to hold a knife in my hand or maybe a razor.
Oh, yeah, that is showing the machine. We go in here?
Yeah. It's a terrible thing. Whoever it is, terrible thing.
Yes, it is. In here, Jim.
Joe, how's it going?
I think he's ready to tell us.
Hope so. I expect a girl.
All right, son, you want to tell us about it now?
I couldn't help myself. I had to do what I had to. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't study unless I did it. I couldn't help myself.
You're responsible for all the knifings, are you?
You knew, didn't you? Who told you?
You told us, Dad.
I'm glad you caught me. It was getting worse. Might have been too late. I'm glad you caught me.
Why?
Barbara. After the prom tonight,
Yeah.
I was going to kill her.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On December 15th, the hearing was held in Juvenile Court, Department 38, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to extra mild Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, Extra Mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the king-size cigarette that is extra mild.
Extra mild because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give it a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
17-year-old James Travers was examined by court psychiatrists who found him to be one of the most dangerous mental cases they had ever examined. The boy's parents, who cooperated to the fullest with the police officers and with the court, made only one request, that the boy be committed to a private sanitarium. James Travers is now under confinement at that sanitarium for an indefinite period of time. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles.
Screen Directors Playhouse presents a Damon Runyon story tomorrow on NBC.